I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration. Why blame Black Americans? Why Latinos don't ask Asians to protest with them? Before we get started, let me read my copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Salute to my moderators, salute to my replay gang, salute to the chat. Let me grab this quick question real quick before I get started. And this comes from Milky Way. You mean the same Asians who fought against affirmative action? Those Asians. Don't hold your breath. Exactly. Now, there has been a lot of viral videos that's been going around of Latinos, and they're crying and they're asking, why haven't Black Americans came out and helped protest? Now, buckle up, get some popcorn and some juice and whatever else you need, because we're going to be here for a minute, because I want to make sure that I cover all grounds of this demonstration. Black Americans. Let's start there. Let's start with Black Americans. When every nationality, when every group of people come to this country, when you all come to the United States of America, right? None of y'all wants to have anything to do with Black Americans. Sure, out of 100, it may be one of y'all. Out of 10,000, it may be 5 of y'all. But for the majority of you all that come to this country, you don't want to have nothing to do with Black Americans. Because in your country, even before you get here in your country, you see Black Americans as inferior. You see Black Americans as a bunch of animals. So you don't want nothing to do with Black Americans when you come to this country. I even have to call out those that have the same skin complexion that we have. When they come to this country, they don't want to be labeled as a Black American. If you talk to a Jamaican, somebody from Jamaica that's darker than us, and if you call that Jamaican Black, they're going to stop you. And they're going to tell you, me no Black American, me no blood clot, no Black America, me Jamaica, me from Jamaica. Yes or no? When it comes to a Nigerian, same thing goes. If you call a person from Nigeria Black, they're going to tell you, no. Me no Black. Me not Black. Me Nigerian. Every nationality that has the same complexion that comes to this country, they will not allow you to label them as being Black America. So I just wanted to put that in its proper perspective, because someone mentioned this to me. Someone said, but Shane, I get it that, you really don't see anything wrong when they deport the Latinos, but what about the Jamaicans? What about the Jamaicans? The Jamaicans don't classify as being Black Americans. Am I lying? Jamaicans classify as being Jamaicans. I said this from the very beginning, way before Trump even won. I said to Black Americans, I said, listen to me. I said, when Trump get in office, Trump is going to shake up some things. I said, listen to me now. I said, Trump do not have no beef with Black Americans. I damn near got my head chopped off by Black Americans. Damn near got my head chopped off because I said Trump don't have a beef with us. Let me explain something this to y'all before I go any further. I still agree with 70% of Trump. I still disagree with 30% of Trump. But y'all have to look at the things that Trump is doing that's shaking up the bushes. This country has been stuck for the last 400 plus years. We've been being fed the same BS for the last 400 years. Now I ain't going to invite Trump to the next barbecue. No, I'm not saying Trump. I'm not putting Trump in that perspective as far as I'm going to invite him over to the next barbecue. No. But what I'm saying is he's a president, and he's a president of a corporation called America. And he was brought in to run this country. But I'll get back to Trump later on. Let's get back to the Latinos that have a problem with Black Americans not coming out and helping them protest. Why haven't they asked the Asians? Asians make up 26% of the U.S. population. 26% of the U.S. population is Asians. Why no cry for them? They in this country. Why everything always fall on Black Americans? When Trump won, you see, the reason why Trump won, because Black people don't vote. Every time a president wins that the people don't like, Black Americans always catch the blame. See, Black people need to vote. That's why so-and-so became the president. Why we always get blamed? Even when we're victims, even when Black Americans are victims, we still get pushed around. We could be head busted wide open, one leg gone, need medical attention. The people will look at that Black person and say, whatever happened to that guy, whatever happened to that woman, she deserved it. Let's keep moving. But now, as y'all can see, we are being blamed for things even when we don't even show up. It was a Latino woman that was on the news. Remember? A couple days ago, and I'm going to try to find that clip. But it was a Latino woman that was on the news, and she said that it's the Black people that's looting. It's the Black people that's out there breaking in stores. They're doing all of this. And it wasn't a Black person in sight. Stop blaming Black people. We got our own fight. And we've been in this fight for over 400 years. Y'all don't come to our rescue. Y'all always say the same thing when it comes to us and when we're standing up for what's right. Y'all always say the same thing. Why don't Black people get over slavery? Why Black people are always using the race card? Why Black people are always playing victims? Yes or no? Yes or no? But I want to go to a Latino. Salute to the chat. I will come down there with y'all. Give me a minute. Now, let's just listen, all right? Let's listen. Listen to what she got to say.
Like, how are you guys handling this? Because I can't. Like they are hunting us down like animals. Like,
let me just stop it right there. Now she says they are hunting us down like animals. Can I get the church to say amen to this? They've been hunting us down like animals for over 400 years. See, you can't make this up. And that's why I always say, let it play out. Let it play out. Y'all been hunted down like animals for a few weeks, right? A few months. Me and my people have been hunted down for 400 plus years. See, once upon a time, the majority of white folks didn't see black people's struggle. It was a time, I'm talking the 30s, 40s, 50s, somewhat the 60s. The majority of white folks didn't see what we were going through, or even they saw what we was going through, but they just didn't care. But then times changed, and the majority of the white folks started to see what we was going through. And they said, damn, that's messed up. That's messed up. So a lot of white people started to help out, even though we got a long way to go. But a lot of white people started to help out with fighting for justice for us. They did. But the Latinos, mainly the Latinos, their racism towards blacks, they even are racist towards darker Latinos. Yes or no? If you go to them Latino countries, them Spanish, them Mexican, go to their countries, see how they treat the darker Latinos. They treat them like ish, right? So now, here we go, 2025. The light-skinned Latinos that thought because their skin complexion, right, was close to being white or close to being pale skin, they thought that they were an exception. They thought that they were white. See, they didn't, in a million years, didn't dream about a day like this that was coming, that the Latinos was going to get their wake-up call. I got news for the Latinos. Whether y'all want to acknowledge it or not, y'all do belong to the black family. All of y'all belong to the black family, even my Caucasian side, because black is the dominant color. Black is the dominant race. I'm just giving y'all the facts. When they go and they want to dig up the bones, the skeletons, because they want to find out who was the earliest people, who were the first people, where do they go at? I'll wait. And when they dig up those bones, when they dig up the skeletons, who come up in the DNA? Black man, black woman. Yes or no? But see, if y'all would have listened to us a long time ago, if y'all would have paid attention to what we were saying about this system, then y'all would understand. And when we were out there fighting, you Latinos would have been right out there with us fighting side by side. But because y'all didn't listen to us and y'all passed judgment on us, and this is why every opportunity I get, I always give these demonstrations, but because y'all look down on us, now when y'all need us, we ain't nowhere to be found. I tell you what, take y'all funky asses to the Asians and help and ask them for help. I tell you what, take y'all funky asses to the white people. Why y'all won't go to the white people and ask them for help? They'll help. The white people will help. Why is it always black Americans? Appreciate the super chat, Drea. Drea says, speaking facts and truth, brother. Let me get back to the Latino. Why is it always black Americans? Why do y'all always want us to help in y'all fight? Y'all experience 2 weeks, 3 weeks of what we've been experiencing for the last 400 plus years. Somebody make it make sense.
Like, how are you guys handling this? Because I can't. Like, they are hunting us down like animals. Like, and are you all okay with this? Just because we look this way? Just because of our names?
Let me stop it right there. You would have thought that that was a black American woman, because those are the words that our black women have been saying for the last 400 plus years. Those are the words that our black men, it's so bad that our black children utter those same words for the last 400 years now. Come on now. I'll say it again. Black Americans, this is not our fight. It's not. It's not. The tables have turned in this country. Study history and see where we're at today as black Americans compared to where we was at 400 plus years ago. Sure, we got a long way to go. Yes, we do. We still got a long way to go. And in my opinion, we have to clean ourselves up. It ain't about money. Black Americans been had money. It ain't about education. Black Americans been had education. Hell, black Americans had education even when we was denied education. Black Americans, we need to clean ourselves up. That's our only fight. Because I can go back in time, and I was just speaking on this, but I could go back into time when black men dressed in suits and ties. I remember a time when black women dressed so classy. You would have thought when you seen a black woman or black man just going to the grocery store, they was dressed so casket sharp, you would have thought they were going to a funeral. No, that's just how they dressed. That's how they dressed, and that's how we were. We were a proud people, just like every other nationality, just like every other group of people was a proud people. We, black Americans, was a proud people. So don't get it twisted. But stop dragging black Americans into y'all BS. 60%, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, 60% of Latinos voted for Donald Trump. Yes or no? 60% of Latinos voted for Trump. Yes or no? Somebody answered that. Now, if 60% of Latinos voted for Trump, and if Trump is deporting these Latinos, whose problem is that? You can't blame Black Americans. We ain't had nothing to do with that. Appreciate you joining the channel, Novi. We ain't had nothing to do with that. See, and y'all know me. If you've been over here rocking with me, I'll call a Black American. I'll even call myself a funky ass if I'm acting like a funky ass. I ain't got no problem with calling me a funky ass. I'll call whoever needs to be called a funky ass with the drop of a dime. Y'all Latinos, not all of y'all, because even some of the Latinos understand it. Shout out to those Latinos that do understand it, because some Latinos are speaking up just like me, and some Latinos are saying, no, we don't got no right to be going after Black Americans. So shout out to those Latinos that understand it and see it for what it is. But for those funky ass Latinos that wants to throw Black Americans under the bus, stop it. Stop it. Appreciate the super sticker, Tanya. Appreciate the super sticker, Novi. Y'all want to blame us. Nah, 60% of y'all voted for Donald Trump.
Like, what? I'm so angry. Like, there is so much rage watching those videos of raids in construction sites, like on the street, and by Proud Boys.
Go back to the early 1900s when those same Proud Boys raided our towns and burnt down our grocery stores, burnt down our barbershops. Those same Proud Boys that you speak of, which when you see them, ain't no Proud Boy. Those ICE agents, ain't none of them melanated, ain't none of them Black. But they done us like that when they burnt down our towns back in the early 1900s. See, we already experienced this. We held our head up and we kept fighting and we kept on fighting. So here comes the civil rights, right? Here comes the civil rights that we fought for. That when you and your people come to this country, benefit off of. See, we already fought for y'all. We already fought for y'all. Appreciate you joining the Rock Squad, Tanya.
By white supremacists, they're hunting us down because we look this way, because we speak this way, because we go like.
I gotta stop it. If see now they want to be Black. Now she want to be Black. Now she talking like she Black. Come on. See? Now she want to be Black. Now she want to, as they would say to Black people, now she want to use the race card. See how this thing works, y'all? See how this works? Now, here comes the race card. Because we look like this, because we talk like this, because of our names.
I don't understand how people are still defending this man. Like, I don't get it.
But 60% of y'all voted for that man. Appreciate the super chat, Jaquetta, Fact Shank. This is not our fight. 60% of them voted for him. This how cold it is, right? And this how cold it is. 60% of y'all voted for Trump, right? Y'all had an opportunity to vote for Kamala. Yes or no? Yes or no? The majority of those Latinos that voted for Trump, the only reason why they voted for Trump because they didn't want to vote for a black woman. It ain't had nothing to do with Trump. The majority of them Latinos only voted for Trump because they didn't want to vote for a black woman. We've been trying to tell y'all. Appreciate you, Kiki. Kiki says, I brought us popcorn. Appreciate you, bartender Kiki. And make sure y'all pull up on Kiki, I'm the boss here. Make sure y'all subscribe to her. But see, when you see it coming back and you see them that walk around with their noses up, you know, and look down on us, when you see it happen to them, like y'all thought y'all was exempt. You know what I mean? You thought you was exempt. It's like a bad relationship. It's like everybody on the block then already told you about this dude right here. He ain't no good for you. All the ladies on the block, 6 ladies on the block, then already dealt with this dude. They telling you this dude ain't no good. But your funky ass seems to think that you are exempt. He's going to treat you better. And you take your funky ass over there with that no good for nothing man, and he runs circles around your funky ass. And then you come back to those 6 ladies and cry a boo-hoo story to them. Appreciate this super sticker, Mushy. Appreciate the membership. Have you seen this podcast? Much love.
Make me understand, because I cannot wrap my head around you hunting people down because they look the way they look. Like, what?
You're only upset.
And I'll come back to her because she does a wonderful and a breakdown of it. Appreciate the super sticker. Have you seen this podcast? She breaks it down excellent. Appreciate those super stickers. Let's listen to the way she breaks it down.
Because it's happening to your culture. We tried to warn everyone, especially Black women. Hi. It's not that we don't care. It's not that we don't have empathy and compassion for what's going on with the deportations. No, we greatly understand it because we've been experiencing it, baby, for 400 years. So when you say, how are you handling this? Welcome to our world.
And I'm going to switch lanes to an Asian woman. Appreciate those super stickers, podcast. I'm going to switch lanes to an Asian woman so we can get into the mind of the Asians to find out what do they think of this. Because as I said earlier, racism runs deep. And racism doesn't start with white people. racism doesn't stop with white people. All races, even us melanated people, are racist. All races, all people have racist people in their race, not just white people. Asians are racist as well. And as I said earlier, even amongst us are racist. April says, Shank, I'm Asian. All right, April, let's tap into the Asian side of the human family. And I think that this young lady that I'm about to tap into, I think that she really, really said some good things. All right.
The topic on why Asians don't speak up when it comes to a protest or speaking up for our rights. Because they honestly do not think they're a minority. A lot of Asians live under that whitewashed world. And that
Do you agree, April, and any other Asians that's tapping into this? Do you agree with her so far? She says a lot of Asians don't speak up because they're living under that whitewash, the white, lie. Let me backtrack it again. Let me see. Okay. Adjusted my crown says I agree. Do Asians live under that white, I can't pronounce words, precious metal? Dana says, yep, exactly, whitewash. Kiki says whitewashed. April says, nope, I do not. I don't believe in the whole whitewash belief at all. Have you been around Asians, April? Have you been around Asians that have lived under that whitewash belief? Kiki says, yes, she is right. Michelle says, yes. I see you, Squeak. I see you, the full life. The full life says, shame on them. I see you, Michelle. Popcorn says, it amazes me, bro, how we are now known for getting ish done. But before this, people separated themselves from us. Exactly, Popcorn. Exactly. Nane saying, yeah, because black people, they get ish done. We know. Kiki says Asians are upper class minorities. They are next to white folks class-wise. Squeak says, yes, she's right. April says, yes, I have. Kiki says, you don't see them trying to do business with us? No. I'm black and grew up with Asian family. Yes, they don't see it. All right. Let's go back to some more. Like I said, I think she really, really covered some good points. Squeak says not all of them.
That comes from me speaking from experience. As a Vietnamese woman with black kids, I've heard every racial slur there is. Why are you with a black man? Your kids are going to be dark. Your kids are going to be like charcoal. Majority of Asian people are Trump supporters.
Are the majority of Asians Trump supporters? Can somebody get me the numbers on Trump supporters in the Asian community? Jay says Asian think they're not black, and white people look at everyone non-white as a black person. April says, but also having an Asian father, he also taught me to stand up for what I believe in, because nobody is going to have a voice for myself but me. Drea says, we tired of working for the other side. We got to work with our own now. Salute, Mel.
They don't speak up. They don't fight. They don't speak on the situation. They don't even like talking about the situation. And when they do, they sound stupid and ignorant. They don't like doing that because in their mind, they're white. Majority of Asians feel the whiter the skin, the better.
What are y'all thoughts on that? The majority of Asians feel the whiter the skin, the better. Shawnette says, yes, when they come to America, they get perking when they transition here. Kiki says, black folks, let's get ish done. It's time to rise. And once again, in my opinion, in my perspective of things, if as black people, if we focus on getting ourselves together, let's not focus on education. As I said before, we've always had education. Even when we was denied education, we had education. Let's not focus on money. Let's not focus on all of the above. Let's focus on getting ourselves together. All right? And let's focus on unity amongst each other. If you Jehovah's Witness, if you Christian, if you Muslim, if you're atheist, let's focus on the one common goal. And that's working together to build up our communities so that we as a people can be proud. All right. And in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, it should be unity all across the monopoly board. It should be unity amongst all races. I do advocate for that. I want everybody to know I do advocate for unity amongst all races. But I do have to advocate for black people to clean themselves up. As a people, we've fallen. We've fallen from some civilized, intelligent kings and queens. We fell from that. We fell down to be lower, in my opinion, lower than the animals. Because the animals, they don't have a will. But we have a will. And we've fallen so low that the animals look at us like we are animals. And for the other nationalities, the Asians, y'all got some cleaning up to do. The Caucasians, the Latinos, all of us, regardless of your nationality, regardless of what part of the world you come from, all of us have some cleaning up to do. We all could be better. So let us focus on becoming better human beings. And I do believe everything else will fall into play if we focus on ourselves.
And that's all I'm going to say on that. That's why they don't speak up. That's why they don't make a scene when it comes to fighting for our rights. Because they think
this is not going to affect them, as if 12 Vietnamese nail techs just didn't get deported.
As she stated, 12 Vietnamese nail techs were deported. See? So don't think that Trump is only going to deport the Latinos. 12, and there's probably more, but 12 Vietnamese nail techs were deported. Right?
Because they're illegal immigrants.
Because they are illegal immigrants. Now that's a topic. That's a topic. If those that were deported, if they were illegal immigrants, was Trump wrong? Before I go any further, drop a one. Drop a one in the chat if you think because those that were deported were illegal immigrants. Drop a one if you think that what Trump done was justified. Drop a two if you disagree with Trump deporting those that were illegal. Kiki says, keyword, illegal. Let's chop it up, y'all. India dropped the one. Jati dropped the one. Carla dropped the two. And I'll tell y'all why. Carl, okay. Squeak, I see you, Squeak. LaDana, I see you. Come here the correct way. It's hard enough here for us anyway. I agree. And let me just say this. Let me take some few more comments and then I'll speak. They don't spend their money with us. Also, everybody carry your ID. Don't give them any excuse to take you down to try to determine if you're a citizen, y'all. They sneaky and want us all out. And I will say this. Whenever an unarmed black man, woman, or child, whenever we get slaughtered in the streets by the police, what do they always say? If y'all would have just complied, if y'all would have just done what the officer said, then the officer wouldn't have roughed you up. See, black people, it's because y'all don't respect the authority. All of these excuses when it comes to us. So what's the excuses for them? Lovely. I appreciate that chat, super chat. I just wish we all survived Trump. We got to do better. Drop a 7 if you all agree with Lovely. Drop an 8 if you disagree.
So let's be clear on why this is happening and who it's happening to, because it's just not Mexicans. Okay.
Are we clear? Are we clear on why it's happening? Because as she stated, it's just not Mexicans. So are we clear? Is he going after legal immigrants or is he going after illegal immigrants? I will drop the link later on. Give me a few more minutes. I want to go to another clip. I will drop the link and let you all come up on the panel. I want to go to another clip. Give me a second. I'm coming, y'all. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm coming.
I just want to say, watching these raids happen in LA right now, people voted for this. People voted for this. And I think right now, the Black and the brown community, we need to come together. And we need to remember that they are the ones who made it us versus them. They put us against each other, because if we're busy fighting each other, we don't put our eyes on them. We need to wake up. Everybody needs to wake up.
Well, ma'am.
Car insurance?
See, once again, my whole thing with all of this is, why all of a sudden now? Why all of a sudden now? It's this, and there are a lot of, don't get it twisted, because there are a lot of Mexicans, there are a lot of Latinos that do. So I don't want to say all of them, but the majority of them don't believe in it. But see, now that this is happening to them, now they want to call out for this Black and brown. I've dropped the link if anybody want to join me on the panel. This is an open panel discussion. Okay. All right, there we go. I see something that I can pull up. Let me get this right here, y'all.
Just got a lot of
There we go. All right. Give me 1 minute, Drea.
Just know that when they're done coming for all of the Latinos in the country, they're going to move on to other races. So if you're sitting back like, oh, they're only coming for the Hispanics, babe, like, that's who they're starting with.
Most of y'all wouldn't even be citizens if it weren't for your parents, grandparents, or someone in your family tree coming here illegally. So remember that the next time you want to say something ignorant or stupid about illegal immigrants.
Slide in, Drea.
Salute, Shank. Salute. I'm not gonna be here for a long time, just to get something off real quick. Now, I live in Texas, so I see a lot of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I see it day in and day out, and it's kind of crazy because what I have noticed is they're not picking people of a lighter skin tone, basically Caucasian-looking people. Now, we all know that somebody from England or somebody from Russia can be of the Caucasian-looking race, okay? but they're not Americans, but they can blend in here because this is white America. You get somebody with a little bit of chocolate to them, a little bit of dark with them, that's when they're going to start harassing you and racial profiling you, which isn't fair. If they're going to go against any illegals, they should hit everybody. Hit them all. Line them up and say, let me see your ID. Check your ID. Okay, you're a citizen. You can move on. But other than that, they're just racial profiling, and that's not fair. You shouldn't be able to do that. Because there are people here that are more dangerous than somebody that may look like they're from Afghanistan versus somebody that's actually from Russia that's doing more damage. They're more of a terrorist or more of a person peddling drugs than the person that you're profiling. You let them slip through the cracks when you're turning your head one way and something else is going on the other way. Basically, what I'm trying to say, and that ain't right. And I see this all the time. I mean, they got ICE agents in Walmart standing by the front door, waiting for people to come in. And I mean, like I said, I live in San Antonio, Texas, so I'm seeing that. I mean, listen, it's bad here. It's bad. I mean, I see a big plane. It's a huge military plane that flies. I see it all the time, and that's what they're putting the illegals in. You know what I'm saying, and shipping them back. And it's crazy. I see it all the time. At least once a week, I see that plane up in the sky, and you can't miss it because it's so big. Wow. It's sad though, because they're really, I mean, I understand you shouldn't be here illegally. If you created a family here illegally, that's on you. You know the rules. You know how it goes. That's on you. But to racial profile people, to me, is crazy, because as a black woman and you as a black man, you know what that's like. You can't walk down the street. We can't even be in a group of 4 or 5 people standing on the corner talking without them looking at us like we're doing something suspect. That's not fair. But you can have a whole gathering of people in some pickup trucks with some Confederate flags, and they just get walked past like they ain't doing nothing. But they go over there plotting. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem.
I agree with you, Dre.
That's just how I feel about it. I mean, it's sad. It's sad. It's a sad thing. But those that are here illegally, they might as well just go ahead and surrender instead of having to go through all that stuff and just go on and do what they got to do or try to get their citizenship or whatever it is they got to do. But they don't need to be targeting certain people because of the way they look, because that's not a good look.
I mean, I agree. Appreciate that super sticker, Tanya. Let Mel slide in, Dre. Slide in, Mel.
All right, I'm about to drop down. Salute.
Okay.
Salute, Shane. Salute, Drea. This situation is so, I don't know. It can have you like straddling the fence. You know what I mean? I just want to bring up 2 points here. So when I was looking at like some of the footage from California where they were actually doing riots, and then someone made an assertion that said, how can you riot in a country that you want to remain in while at the same time raising the flag of the country you don't want to go back to? To me, that spoke volumes. And another point was, I don't know if you saw the movie Sinners, but
yes,
to this day, there's one part of that movie that to this day still bothers me. And that movie was centered around 1942 Mississippi. Slavery was over, but black people were still picking cottons for pennies, barely making their families, taking care of their families. But yet there was a Vietnamese couple that owned a bakery on one side of the street, and on the other side of the street, I think they owned it was a bakery, I think, and then a restaurant. And I'm thinking, how did Vietnamese get to the Mississippi Delta in 1942 already are business owners in the middle of a city where black people was impoverished? They were still picking cotton. That movie, to this day, that part of that movie still haunts me because I'm still trying to figure it out. 1942, they hadn't even had the Vietnam War. Both of my older brothers was in that war as teenagers. So I'm thinking, like, how was that possible? How was that? I'm talking about 1942.
Yeah.
How did they get here? And how were they able to set up not one business, but two businesses on the same street?
Teach. And was making side money as the nurse or the doctor. Because remember when the twin, one of the twins, Pow, the dudes, he gave the wife the money, you know, to take him in the back and fix him up.
Can you stop? How was that possible? How did they get here? So was the borders always open? I'm just curious. Like, how did they get here from Vietnam and be home and be business owners in this? That part of the movie to this day, if anybody asked me about that movie, what did I remember about that movie? It was that. So it brings us to still, I guess as Black people, if we're here, we had no choice. But going back in time and just biblical times, it seems like we were already here. But that's just another story. But you can look at both sides of the story of what's happening, and then as Black people, we normally empathize, right? Rather we see other nationalities, even though they're minorities, as we see them as brothers and sisters. Maybe that's just something natural, but at the same time, in us, we still have to look at the injustices that was done to us. And the one thing that whoever video you were showing there kind of alluded to, the fact that, I mean, is it right or wrong? You know what I mean? Do you have? I think the window of becoming a citizen is like 10 years, I believe. But we have to think about it. And then, like she stated about the Vietnamese nail techs that got deported because they were. But then you go into their shops, they don't speak English, and I agree with I think something that was said by him as that if you're living in America, you have to learn the language. I think that's fair, because if you notice over years, um, English became the second language and Spanish became the first. Like when you call places, say for Spanish push one, for English push two, or for Spanish push one, for all others push two. And then you have to think about that a lot. You know what I mean? And some jobs,
Mm-hmm.
they prefer you to be bilingual, but should we? Or if you come to live a life in a country where the main language is English, should you learn the language? Because if you go to other countries, they're not going to try to find no interpreter. You're going to have to go over there and get those little books and try to learn the language so that you can communicate, right? But they're not going to make your language their second language, not even their first. You know, you can live over there peacefully, but they're not going to change their culture for you. You feel what I'm saying? So it's several
Mm-hmm.
ways to look at it. Um, you know, but one thing that I can say is that all of the information that they need, they already have it. And a lot of it is through census. That's why you get that census in the mail every day. And you go and get your driver's license, and they want you to complete that census. And is it fair or is it unfair? It's really hard to say. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, everybody, if you ask me, was kind of pitted against each other. You know, even us as a whole, just African Americans as a whole, and that's why you know, we have part of our community that I don't want to say they don't care, but they just in a whole nother thing. But because everybody, for the most part, has always been operating from survival mode. And then when people are able to work their way in and up to they're comfortable or even we'll say rich, some attitudes change against people that have not quite gotten there yet because that's all we know. That's what was instilled from the beginning, right? Um, but yeah, that's just the way I feel about it. It's a it's a really uh double edged sword. think that's what you call it because there's right about it and there's wrong about it.
Let Squeak slide in real quick, Mel. Slide in, Squeak. Slide in, Squeak.
Hey Shane. Hey Mel. Hey
Hey, Squeak.
Kiki the boss.
Slide in, Squeak.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Hey Shane.
Yeah.
Hey Mel.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Hey
Yes.
Kiki the boss.
What it do? Is it my turn?
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Come on. Go ahead,
First
Squeak.
thing on this protest, the reason why we didn't come out and protest because it would be martial law. Understand this. As soon as we come out, it would have been martial law. People would have got killed. And we didn't want that to happen. So that's why we didn't protest. Because that's what he wanted, martial law. Everything is written in Project 25. Everything. And they're going by the book.
It's not our fight.
We tried to tell y'all.
It's not our fight.
Now, as far when I was in Korea, okay, we worked with Korean soldiers, and they was called Katusas. They was either rich or they were very smart. They went to college. Okay, I was walking up the stairs one time, and a white guy, American soldier, just spit on a Katusa. Just spit on him for no reason. It's racism is taught. It's taught. And so as far as Mexicans and Latinos, y'all voted for him. Y'all voted for him more than we did. So what you saying? We are helping you. We're helping you stay alive. Instead of calling the National Guard, he would have called martial law. Because we weren't there. And they've been waiting for us. They don't understand why. And we don't care. So we are helping you. You just don't see it. You just don't see it. Do you know how many people would be killed if we went protesting? We looking out for y'all. We know what it is. And it don't take a scientist to figure it out. This is so easy and so stupid. They want us to come out. Them folks want us to come out. They are kidnapping people off the streets. And it's kidnapping. They ain't getting no justice. They're just kidnapping people off the street. We're next. We are next. Because they want to make America great again, which is just white people. And for the people that voted for him, whether you white, black, Mexican, Latino, or what, shame on you. Because you didn't do your research. The plan is in writing. You knew it. You didn't do your research. And you want to blame it on us? You should be thanking us that you're still walking and protesting. And you know, all you people know, if we jumped out of there, it's martial law. They wanted us to jump out of there so they could call martial law. It's just that simple. But we need to wake up. Democrats need to do what they need to do to get rid of these jokers. This is way out of hand. A senator and a speaker got killed in their own house today.
What was that, Minnesota? In Minnesota?
They got killed in their own house because they're Democrats and they were white. This is mad, people. This is crazy mad. But if we get out there, I'm telling you, it's martial law. They thought we was going to be out there. We fooled them. But this is the reason why. Because people are going to get killed. So we sat back and watched. And that's what we need to keep on doing. Until it's time for us to move, we'll move. But we're not going to let people get killed because of us. And we're not going to get killed because of us.
Squeak,
We're too smart for that.
Let me let Kiki slide in real quick because she gotta.
People need to get right. This is insane. This is something we never seen in our lifetime. Most of us. And I hope and pray we don't never see this again. I digress.
Slide in, Kiki.
What it do? Okay, so my bad, y'all. My allergies, so bear with me. So I wanted to just let everybody know, look, I think this was supposed to happen. If not now, at some point it was supposed to happen, because look at it 10, 20, 30 years from now when we just over polluted and come on, y'all, I wouldn't, as far as like us, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Look, this is the time to, like Shank said, work on yourself. We need to elevate. While nobody is paying attention, everybody's distracted on this did he case, and they distracted on everything that's going on right now. This is normally when I start doing stuff. I start trying to fix my credit. I start trying to do all kinds of stuff. Let me tell you, when I first, now probably some years ago, man, I was working like 3 or 4 jobs and going to school trying to make it work. And we have to do that a lot of times in this country. We have to do so much to even just live. Look at our economy now. We struggling, right? If we went over to somebody else's country, how would that look? If we went over, if we popped over in somebody's country right now, they'd probably bow us down, especially if they hadn't been colonized. So when it comes to us and people are coming over here and we're like, hold on now, the economy is bad. So much stuff is so messed up right now. It had to start somewhere. And honestly, it took me a while to think and just say, hey, maybe this ain't all bad. because I've been looking for new jobs and I've been getting interviews left and right. And I'm like, look, it must be because the DEI. It must be. At first, I was a little tempted to put that I was Black on these applications, but I'm telling you, I think right now is the time that we need to move in. We need to move in like the militia. When I was working my 3 and 4 jobs, I had a job at a buffet. I can't think of it. I think it was the Chinese buffet somewhere. Anyways, and then I worked at this other buffet. It was a hibachi buffet, right? 2 Asian restaurants. You had a buffet, and then you had like an actual restaurant that did hibachi. Tell me why both of them they paid us the lowest amount. They had Americans working there, which was little me and other people, and then they had illegals working there. They actually had Hispanic illegals working in the kitchens and cleaning the bathrooms and doing everything. It was cheap labor for them, just like it's cheap labor for the white folks. I've had bosses, Caucasian bosses, that sit up and tell me, "Oh yeah, I picked Hector up. He's working on my house." I had a boss called one day and said one of my workers fell through the roof. None of them had insurance because they were illegal. I'm telling you, do you think when you come over here, whether it's the right way or the wrong way, you are not going to be any close to? I'm telling you, it's an army in itself. So many people think that, they're the upper class minorities and stuff like that, and they look down on us for so long. And now look, because I sit here and I worked at these restaurants, and I'm like, damn, I mean, excuse my language, am I the illegal? They treat me like I'm the illegal. I'm working here. I'm a waitress at these places, and I'm getting $2.25 an hour and tips. But the tips that I'm getting is going into a tip share where they're taking it out. They literally took, if I made $10 off one table, that went to the hibachi chefs that made it half of that. Then the bartender got 2% of it. Then the host got 3% of it. Then it went to the house because, these Asian folk took all of my money. Like literally it was bad. I had to quit. I had to walk out. I had to cuss all of them out, and they deserved it all because I'm like, how are y'all taking all of my money? I learned how to use all of my undergarments because that money was going somewhere, honey, and I wasn't a dancer or anything. I had to literally take my own money because they weren't paying us. I'm like, this is how you look down on us. You got your people that's making $15 and $20 an hour plus tips. But us Americans, you're giving us pennies. And then because I didn't know all of the sushi items, I didn't know, and you had to learn this stuff. I was sitting here studying the menu, taking this job so seriously, and that stuff is very confusing. You're like we saying, we're not from their country. We don't know all their stuff, but we are trying to learn. So when they come over here, it's almost like not willing to learn. We got to be forced to learn their stuff, and they're not trying to learn our stuff. So I'm sitting here putting these orders in. They're coming back like they're just yelling at me and all kinds of stuff and ordering me and directing me around. That was just my experience being an American working for them, how they treated me like I was an illegal, and they treated their illegals better than me. You see what I'm saying? But they still treated the illegals like crap because they was making them clean the bathrooms, clean the grease traps and everything else. But when it came to the white folks, they treated them right up there with them. They were getting paid good. They were getting invited out to the events side events and stuff they were having. I would be on Facebook and I was like, dang, they had a dinner party. They all dressed up and they didn't invite my black ass, but okay. I'm saying you got to think about that. So like Squeak and everybody else is saying, at first I want to be very supportive and say, hey, this is all. No, it's really not all of our fight, y'all. We all have individual fights. All of our fights individually can come together as one big, enormous fight, but they are all individual fights. And we got to clean in-house. We got to contact HR, get HR to look at what we got going on over here before we really worry about whatever. That's what I'm learning right now. I can't worry about what you got going on because I don't know I don't know what, just like the lady that Shank played the video, the woman, my skin, I can't help the way I look. I was doing a forehead smack the whole time. My forehead is swollen now. We have been saying this. We cannot wash the black off. We can't, people bleaching. You got people bleaching their skin to be more fair skinned and stuff like that so they can be accepted. We can't do that. You got people in Africa bleaching their skin just so they can be, and they look down on us.
Yep.
Y'all, everybody is jacked up. I'm trying to respect you, shake and not cuss. Everybody is jacked up. But we gotta worry about what we got going over here. This country will be fine. This needed to happen. Pretty soon it's gonna be a population of 5,000 people over here in the US, but we're gonna be okay because we gonna have to rebuild. We still gotta be here at the end of the day. We can't be upset about it. We can be upset about it, but then we have to do something. And that doesn't mean writing letters and going to protest. I'm watching them and I'm seeing what they're doing. But if martial law does happen, I'm gonna be in here with my hands crossed, with a blanket over my lap, minding my business, being a good citizen. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what they want. And right now, I feel like if these protests get out of line anymore, if they get out of line, like say if it gets way worse, they're about to prove why their family members are not in the country. And I'm trying to be nice, and I'm probably gonna get canceled before I even start. I don't care, but they gonna show everybody why they're not. And I'm gonna say this one thing, and I'm gonna get off here. I was watching this movie last night with Robert De Niro in it, and it was about an Italian mob child, and they was talking about how they came over here. They said when they came over here, the Indians, they'd already ransacked, the white folk, they colonized everything. So really what the Italians had when they got here was crime, basically. They came in during the bootlegging period and everything like that. So I guess it was their way of justifying when they came over here, all they had left. But either way you go, I mean, coming over here illegally is still a form, to me, in my mind, it still kind of comes across as colonizing because you're trying to make something yours that ain't yours. Yeah, I gotta go. I just wanted to say that. Thank you, y'all.
Appreciate you, Kiki. Make sure y'all subscribe to Kiki Boss. Let Mama Clay slide in. Slide in, Mama Clay.
Hey, this is Freshie. I'm trying to figure out where my green has gone, and I'm trying to figure out why I can't give you no money. I'm trying to put some change in your pocket.
Did you click on the dollar? Did you click on the dollar sign symbol?
Yeah, and I kept pushing purchase, 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 and it wasn't giving me a chance to get purchase. And then I noticed when I typed in the chat, my green is gone. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to.
Is you on a different account?
No, right now I am. That's how I got into StreamYard. Is I had to come in as a guest, I had to come in another way. I didn't come in.
What's your name? What's your regular name that you can't see no more?
Well, I can see it myself, Freshie 915. But when I came into StreamYard, I had to come in under Mama Clee.
Let me see if somebody blocked you by mistake. YouTube be tripping. Or let me see if somebody blocked you by mistake. Y'all hold the panel down while I step away for a minute.
Well, I was go come up here and say to y'all, hi everybody. I'm sorry. I'm trying life has been killing me, okay? I'll just share with you guys some sad news. I lost my godmother. She and my parents have been friends for over 72 years. She and my mom were best friends for 72 years. That's amazing to have a friendship that long. But back to the other part of the story. And then I lost my emotional support dog. I'm making it. I have to make it for my mama. My mama is 80, going to be 83 June 23rd. So I got to kick it for her. And then my grandson is going to be 5 months tomorrow. And it'll be my son's first Father's Day. And that's a picture of my son right there. He's an awesome drummer. But anyway, I live in El Paso, Texas. And I also live in Chaparral, New Mexico is where I married my husband. Chaparral, New Mexico is actually 10 minutes outside of El Paso, Texas. And I live 20 minutes from White Sands Missile Range. And in El Paso is Fort Bliss Army Base. So we're surrounded by all of this stuff here. Plus, the border is literally 10 minutes from my mother's front door. and you just cross the river and go on over into Mexico. So El Paso, right now, if you come in El Paso, they have hiring signs. I mean, you can get a job right now today because most of the illegals have been sent away. Now, my heart, I grew up here under the Mexican culture. My great grandfather started the first chapter of the NAACP here in El Paso. My great grandmother taught English as a second language and taught the immigrants how to take the test, like their underground railroad, so to speak. So, in the neighborhood I grew up in, my parents grew up in that same neighborhood.
And
And
who
then,
said?
huh? And so, my grandparents grew up. I grew up, and it was a village. And I want to say the neighborhood was from east to west, uh, about 30 blocks, and from north to south, about same thing, 30 blocks. And it was a village. You know, people had chickens and vegetables, and some people owned goats. We had a hog farm. Some people had cows. The people that owned the dairy company, you know, we used to get fresh milk. You know, we used to trade off and help each other. It was a village. Everybody knew their children, and the kids were all watched after. And I even bought the house next door to my grandmother so that my son could come up in a village. And he tells me, Mom, I those were some of the best years of my formative life, and how it made a difference in the way that he thought and came up. And these kids weren't inside playing video games, they were outside playing. And it was just beautiful. And now you go back into the neighborhood. For instance, we sold my grandma's house to help pay my aunt's house off. And now when you go there, it's a lot of illegals or immigrants that have come in and bought the houses in the neighborhood. Well, now the houses are up for sale again. And I have been affected by it because a lot of people I know that have lived there for centuries, for instance, the candy lady's son-in-law was picked up. And so, you know, it's like several people, some of the people I went to school with, their parents or family members of some sort were taken back across the border. And these were people
He's
who
like,
worked
where are all the
and
black people when we need them with your help?
and we did all of these things. Uh, it, it hurt to watch this, but yet and still, if you go 4 blocks over from my house, you have stash houses. And I mean, the neighborhood we live in, my dad said the prestigious neighborhood, but we live in the upper middle class neighborhood. And we have the stash houses here. And the houses that aren't the stash houses are all the rich Mexican people that live here. And when stuff hit the fan over in Mexico with the cartels, they moved their families out of Mexico into El Paso. So we had, we have a large Hispanic illegal legal population, and it's good and it's bad. Now, un, 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 unbeknownst to a lot of people, you will find a lot of racist Mexican people, and you know, but then at the same time, you find a lot who aren't. Now, the thing about it's not a whole lot of black people here. My son married a light skinned Mexican girl, and her family is light skinned. So those are the people we call Spaniards, and they usually are financially stable. My daughter in law makes over 6 figures. Great. And so um, my son is the only interaction her family ever had with black people. My son is the only interaction she has ever had with black people. Now they got this little black baby boy, and they thought that the baby boy was going to be light like my brother's daughter, but baby boy's got some color to him, you know. But that's how sad it is, because you could see how they kind of look at us and stuff. They looking crazy at us, and I'm sitting up here, and then when they heard me talking Spanish, oh boy, they fell in love. Oh my God, oh my God, you know. But you can get in an elevator with one and stand there, and they talking about you like a dog. So what I do is, before the elevator door closed, I rattle back off to them. Just like yesterday, I was out in the front yard getting my mom's paper and stuff, and it's some Mexican men over working on a wall across the street, and I shaved my hair. I don't have any hair due to my autoimmune disease. So he was singing a Mexican song, and he said something about pelona, and pelona is a bald-headed female version. And then I turned around, and in Spanish I told him, I said, and it's much better when it's chocolate. And they all looked over at me, and they hurried up and got back to work. But, like, it's a two-edged sword. It really is. And then, but look at us. Look at how we are with one another. And I agree with young lady. Young lady is smart.
Yes.
It's time for us to get our credit right, get ourselves straight.
And I don't mean to cut you off, Freshie 915.
Did you find out what was happening?
Yeah, I seen that you're not blocked. So drop down and then try to leave a comment, or try to go to the $ symbol and see what happened, and then come back up. All right.
Okay, baby.
And Squeak and Mel, I'm gonna run this clip, and then I'm gonna let y'all slide in. Squeak and Mel, let me run this clip.
How do I get out?
Where are the black people when we need them with their help? With the whole Latino thing going on with the Dobbins document, and that triggered all the black community. So now there's a bunch of videos saying a bunch of crap against Mexicans. They go, here we go again. The black community is mad because we're asking for their help. Instead of responding in a good way, they're really bashing us, bashing Mexicans, and saying,
I do have something to say first. This is my humble opinion. I think where we go wrong is that we ask for their help, personally. And let me elaborate. I don't think that we as brown people should be asking another race of people to help us. I think if another race of people want to help voluntarily, then that's that. I'm going to give you a great example. I've had a black woman, Latina, but black, right? Who is more involved in the Latino community than the black community. As a black woman, but from Latin America. So much so that before Donald Trump was elected, she reached out to me and said, Ricardo, you have a lot of black people that listen to you. Can you please talk to them to help us Latinos? She's black. She's telling a Mexican guy, can you please talk to your overwhelming black audience to help us Latinos? I'm like, you're black. But you see, this is how these kind of terminologies have kind of ruined us a little bit. That in the case of like black Latinos, if you will, the black Latinos, they're so busy trying to be Latinos that they forget about black people. And they're black, from observation, to the point where a black woman is asking me, and she's got a large following, but she has been using her following to be involved in the Latino community. And she has to ask me, and this is what I told her though. This is what I said. I said, I will not do that. I will not ask black people to help us at all, actually. And what was disrespectful the most was when I saw that over 60% of Latinos voted for Trump.
And I'm going to stop it right there. And I'm going to say this before I let Melvin Sweet come back in. He even said it. A black woman, a black Latino, was more interested in helping Latinos than helping her own. And this is what we've been saying. We always help everybody else. Black people, when when y'all come to this country, Black Americans will stick our head out to help you all quicker than we will help our own. This is one fight that Black Americans are staying out of. We don't want to have nothing to do with this. For those that voted for Trump, there were many Black people that told y'all not to vote for him. I still stand on 70%. I do agree with Trump. 30% I disagree. I didn't vote. But the majority of the Latinos voted for Trump. So in my opinion, y'all cannot get mad at Black Americans for not helping y'all. I understand when Black Americans come for Black Americans that voted for Trump. I understand that coming from Black Americans, because Black Americans feel like, hey, we all supposed to be in this together. How dare y'all vote for Trump? I can understand Black Americans coming for those Black Americans that voted for Trump. But I can't understand Latinos coming for Black Americans because we don't join in on y'all fight. Come on in, Mel or Squeak.
That was a very interesting video, but that's why it's I don't even know if it's really sticky, and I want to piggyback off Nikki that was here earlier. And at the end of the day, if we really just sit back, and because sometimes you have to come outside yourself to look in, this needed to happen. It just really did. It needed to happen because it's so disproportionate, and even when it's amongst us, as I spoke earlier, it's so disproportionate. And at the end of the day, regardless of martial law, these protests have been going on over all these cities in this country. I think this is the third one. And it doesn't matter. Black Americans are just not getting involved because we've done all our fighting and our marching. And there's no need to do it anymore. So we have to sit back and let all this play out. And yes, he stated over 60% of Latinos voted for Trump, but Trump's message has never changed. Did they feel about voting for him that he was going to change his message or his, I don't know, his thoughts or whatever? He didn't change. He still continued to do. And a lot had to do with what they did, which was a deep dive into this country. They had to go through every department, every aspect of our government to see exactly, really what it was. It was alarming to me to find out a lot of things. I can say that throughout my work, I probably been this, we've all in our even out in our jobs are exposed to things that we don't really know what it is. Because in business, it's just like in home, everything. You see how I put it. It's just like, okay, so you go to work and you know how much money you bring in every week, and at the end of the month, you know your bills, and you take all what you pay and you pay your bills, and then you either gonna have something left or nothing left. At the end of the day, everything is accounted for. Outside of that accountability, if there's something wrong, there's always a reason why it's wrong. And sometimes, many times, corporations, the reason why a lot of them are, you look, they're not performing well, this, that. It's because instead of fixing the problem, They band-aid the problem, and small problems turn into larger problems. You feel me? And at the end of the day, it's just a cycle. So 4 or 5 years later, this company has a new CEO. They have to go to try to adjust some things, and but they never can adjust because there's that one thing that keeps going on and on and on and on. But that's the way this country is. And at the end of the day, Donald Trump is running the United States, the corporation. He's letting the people take care of people, to be honest with you. He really is. But he's running the corporation. That's why they went in and they just started prodding and digging out all of this and finding all of the American taxpayers' money that's going to all of these countries. And at the end of the day, from what we always saw on TV growing up, was these poor countries. Well, these countries are not poor no more. Many of them countries look better than the United States. But they built that by doing business with the United States for pennies on the dollar. At the same time, their citizens are coming here and being illegal immigrants working, that's all the way down to your nail techs. But what do they do with their earnings? They send them back to their country because what they're making here is doubled, sometimes tripled in those countries. But if you go and look at those countries, if you look on social media, you see even Americans are going to live in Bangkok, and they say they rent is $300 and have these beautiful, already furnished condos, and they live over there because the cost of living is so cheap, and they have these jobs that are hybrid that allow them to work from anywhere, and they're making American dollars but living cheap over there. But those countries are no longer these what we were always shown on TV, these poor, war-ridden countries. These countries are beautiful. Their infrastructures, like in most cases, look better than our infrastructures. That's why the United States is having to rebuild their infrastructure because, and at the end of the day, whether we want to accept it or not, that's why he imposed those tariffs. Like, wait, hold on for a minute. It's not balancing out. So this country, at the end of the day, just needs checks and balances, and he's choosing to do it with people. Will it make it better for the U.S. citizens? I think so. African Americans, I think so as well. The downfall to that is they let stuff go so long that these younger generations, they're on something else. They're finding other ways to make money. I'll say, for example, Casanat, who's a multi-millionaire just from streaming, like, to someone like me, it's like, oh my, he's just streaming with a bunch of people speaking in their chat. And so they have to figure out a way to balance it out because the more wealthy they become, then they're going to have those ones that then begin to put money and rebuild like Wall Street. And, just things. Those things are coming. But we just have to make sure that we're getting ourselves right and make sure that we're able to contribute. But all of the other things that's going on, all we can do is just sit back and watch it on social media, look at all the protests going over here, and they were in every city where I live, you know. But it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. You just got to let it work itself out. I don't know. I probably rambled on, but I digress. Sweet.
Slide and squeak. I muted my mic. Slide and squeak.
Okay, I got a few things. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you good. You good.
Okay, I got a few things.
Slide and squeak. I muted my mic. Slide and squeak.
Okay. One is ICE. There's people going around dressed as ICE that's raping women. Let me say that again. There's people that's going around saying they ICE and they're raping women. They're not even part of ICE. They just dressed up as ICE. So be careful, women. When you answer your door, don't answer your door till you know who it is. And let them and show them. Let them show you their credentials. You know what I'm saying? Just because they're in uniform, don't mean they part of the uniform. Okay. The second thing is, our blood is in everybody. Our black blood is in every race. Mexican, Latinos, Asians. Our blood is in everybody. You notice that each of these races, they white, they tan, they black, they brown, because our blood is in them. We were here first. We got dropped off of every island on the way. Puerto Rico, Mexico, everybody. They're all in our blood. Okay. Third thing is, I said this a long time ago that billionaires was buying up land for camps. And guess who they want to put in there? Us. They still buying up land. They still making camps. Okay, and the fourth one, let's see, leadership. We don't have no leadership. We always had leadership when it's time to get down, to tell us what to do, where to go. We don't have that. We do not have leadership. We had Martin Luther King, we had Malcolm. Anytime we need to move, we had leadership. We don't have it. And rich black people, billionaires, where you at? Where you at? We buy your movies, we watch your television, buy your music. Where are you at? We need the money and help us. Do something instead of not doing anything. The fifth one is, let's see, I already did the fifth one. The sixth one is vote. You notice these judges, these racial judges, we didn't vote them in because we didn't vote. That's why local is very important. They put your senators and your congressmen in the House or the Senate. And judges locally. That's what local is. So when it comes, I don't care what you get. When it comes down to vote for anything, vote. But your local is very important as the federal. It's just as much important. You see this judges that's giving Trump the go ahead. We didn't vote him in because we didn't vote local. You got to vote local. We got to take over the House and Senate. If you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. But we got to take back the House and the Senate. So only way to do that is to vote. If you got a local election coming up, make sure you got your ducks in a row so you can vote. Each and every one of us need to vote. It does matter, as you can see. Because one of these days, you're going to vote, you're not going to vote locally, and you're going to have a judge that's going to the Supreme Court. That's from your state. But you did nothing. Didn't vote. That's how important vote is. You see what a mess this is? You see all the MAGA in the House, in the Senate, in local governors, all that. We got to vote, people. We got to vote. And like I said, our blood is everywhere. That's why other races, they're black, they brown, they white looking. Same thing. White people too, they got our blood. They got our blood. That's how powerful we are. That's how powerful we are. They don't want our smoke. They don't. But what they're doing is they're trying to see what and if they can get away with. You peep the play? They're trying to see what they can get away with and what they can't get away with. This is planned, people. This is all planned. And it's in black and white. So we as a whole needed to get together. And we do need leadership. Because right now, we don't know which way to turn. We don't know which way to go. We don't. We don't know what to do. Nothing. And I'm a Democrat. And I'm telling you, only person I believe in is Jasmine Crockett. She is that one. But, you know, they need to get together. We all need to be on the same note. Every last one of us. We got to do our part. And the biggest part we have is to vote locally and federally. Locally, I mean state and city. We got to get involved. Because we have a fault here. We let this happen. We let this happen. Now we got to fix it. I don't want to vote. And voting don't mean nothing. Yes, it do. How do you think these people got in the Senate and in the House? They got voted. Now look at the mess we in. I don't know what we're going to do with the Supreme Court, but something got to happen. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. But just remember, ladies, watch out who's at your door. Watch out who's at your door. Gotta be careful. Gotta be smart. And it's one thing is we are being smart about the protests. We are, and that's with no leadership. Otherwise, it would have been martial law. That's what they wanted. That's what they wanted to get us in the street. So just another excuse. We got to think smart. Because we are smarter than them. Look at us. We are smarter than them. I digress.
Appreciate you, Squeak. Let me let Juju slide in. Salute, Juju.
Salute, y'all. Salute. I don't redact what she just said, that we are smarter than that. And we have to be smart enough to realize that the system has not been designed for us. Democrat, Republican, it's all the same bird, different wings. We have to unite ourselves. We have to take care of each other. Remember Black Wall Street? That's what we have to go back to. All this is happening in front of us is a stage for something that's even bigger. No, we ain't got no business out there in them streets because this is not our fight. But the Republicans Party is not for us, and neither is the Democrat. We have been under a corporation. Now it's becoming a republic. It's a universal shift taking place. And we're in the midst of the Great Awakening. Wakey, wakey, my people.
Appreciate you, Juju.
Salute.
Let me come back to.
Yeah, so I didn't even know that until last week. I said, what?
Check this out. So you mean to tell me our own community voted mostly for Trump, and we want another race of people to help us? That's why black people are offended. Yeah. It's like I've heard it all the time. Black people themselves tell me, we voted for Kamala. You want our help? You need to convince your people to help you first. So now imagine black people from the outside looking in, 60-something% of Latinos voted for Trump. And here comes the Latinos asking for their help. That's disrespectful, man. Of course. Go ahead, China.
And that's what I wanted to touch on, because as I stated before, like in the Afro Latino conversation that we had, I find my community not with Latinos.
Uh-huh.
I am part of the 92% that voted for Kamala. Okay. The reason why we say enough, help yourself, is because the elections really did show us that we were alone.
Yep.
It's the sentiment that we really fight for everybody and nobody fights for us. And that's why when they look around, they say, oh, well, we're all the black people. Do you see them protests? The little parades that people were having, protesting? Why do you think they were so peaceful? Why do you think they weren't, the police weren't out there in anti-riot gear and militarized police wasn't out there? We're not using our bodies as human shields for people anymore.
And I think Squeak, I think you touched off on that as far as if we was out there, you could best believe we'd have been got our heads busted wide open. I believe it was you, Squeak. They would have called martial law in. So y'all really have to understand Black Americans struggle. And y'all got to really understand what we have been going through in this country. And I'm going to go back to my man, but for the Latino side of the family, y'all really have to understand. I tell you what, and this is what I always tell everyone. If you want to learn history 101 on this country, get a black man, get a black woman that's woke or from the conscious community. Don't go getting them old Sambo, funky ass blacks that go along with white supremacists. Get a shank rock. I'll be glad to tell all y'all funky asses the history 101 and what we brought to the table and our contribution to this country. We are the backbone. If it wasn't for us, this country wouldn't have never excelled to the levels that it excelled from. The inventions, our inventions, the blood, the sweat, the tears, ours. So get with us, humble yourself. I'm gonna go, before I finish this, remind me to go to the clip where the Latino woman says, she says, we need to be kissing black people's asses. We really need to be bowing down to black Americans, the whole planet. Let me put it in its proper perspective, because still some don't get it. Hip hop is the #1 genre of music that is all over the world. Hip hop. And who was hip hop? Who started hip hop? Any and everything, all of the influences that the whole world get from black Americans. Let us put us on the history channels. You know, the history channels, when they talk about the aliens, put Shank Rock on that channel. Put us on them channels. Because we're going to tell y'all, and we're going to bring receipts that those aliens that y'all talk about, that's us. That's us. Who built the pyramids? We done that. The hieroglyphics on them caves, that's us. We are the original man and woman. And I could go on and on and on. And if you don't want to take my word, because some of y'all won't take my word because I'm a black man, cool. Take your funky asses over to TikTok and let the white people on TikTok tell y'all the same things that I'm trying to tell y'all funky asses. Let me get back to my man.
When the George Floyd protests happened, I was in Seattle and I was out there. Everything was peaceful until the agents of chaos came in and they started tear gassing us. Like I'm telling you, como perro no trataban.
Yeah.
When all we want is the right to live, the right to exist. Don't kill us. We saw things for what they really were in the elections.
Yeah.
We're
And
done.
you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. Yes, I agree. We did, but I saw it before the elections. To be honest with you, I saw it before.
Yeah, I did
I
too.
didn't see it.
I did
Didn't
too.
see it. I didn't need the elections. I didn't need to see 60% Latino for. I didn't. I've been seeing this my whole life, and I've always told people, the black and brown people that come into my chat way before the elections, y'all pay attention to who comes over here and attack me when I address white people. It's Latinos. Latinos get mad when I address white people. All the people that got my back in the comment section are black people. When I'm addressing white supremacy, all the Latinos come in here, oh, you're a hater. I don't need the election thing to show me anything. I've seen it not only here in the chat. I've seen it my whole life growing up. Latinos, bro, are some self-hating motherfuckers.
Shout out to the brother right there that get it and don't have a problem with letting it be known. Shout out to those Latinos, because just like all black people aren't bad, just like all white people aren't bad, all Asians, all Latinos aren't prejudiced or racist. Some Latinos, they do got love for us and other folks as well. So shout out to everybody, regardless of race, religion, or creed. Shout out to everybody that's not racist. Shout out to everybody that's not prejudiced. Slide in, lovely.
Hi, how you doing, Shank? Can you hear me?
Yes, you sound good. Come on, lovely.
Hi, I was just coming in to comment. I think people was saying that people want us to vote for Camilla to just say because she was black. I think our perspective of not voting for Trump versus Camilla, we was more voting for Camilla for the better of the worst versus voting for Trump versus Camilla. It was the better of the two, you know.
Let me slide in, lovely. Let me slide in. I was saying that the Latinos that didn't vote for Kamala, the Latino, are you Latino?
No, I'm black.
Right. So I was saying that the majority of the Latinos, they voted for Trump just because they didn't want to vote for Kamala. My opinion, the majority of us voted for Kamala, you know what I'm saying, because they felt Kamala was the better between Trump and Kamala. But come on back in, lovely.
Yes, I was saying that I think a lot of them voted for Trump because they feel like Trump was the better versus Kamala, but I feel like Kamala would have been the better versus Trump. But I feel like a lot of them voted for Trump because they feel like he was better. But I feel like they running for Trump and now they getting the backlash voting for Trump, and now they getting the backlash of the end voting for Trump because now they getting deported, they getting a lot of backlash, and they seeing the backlash from Trump. Now they getting the backlash from it because they getting deported. They getting a lot of the backlash from it, you know. So now they seeing what they getting from it for voting for Trump, you know.
And see, Trump told them some of the Latinos are happy, the ones that's legal, because Trump told everybody about the illegal immigrants. He said it. He said they're first on the list. They at the top of my list of things that I'm going to be doing, and that's deporting the illegal immigrants. On the list, they at the top of my list of things that I'm going to be. You got to echo, lovely. The illegal immigrants. If you got any on your YouTube, if you got any tabs open on social media, close those tabs out, lovely.
Yeah, I just muted it. Now they seeing what's coming to them by voting for him, but you know, now they see what's coming towards them. So now they see what's going on. So they getting the backlash from it, you know, and now they want us to get on their end, you know, but we was trying to tell them and let them know what will be going on, because we already know what he was about when he was being the way he was towards women and black people from the beginning. You know, he didn't care about black people. He didn't care about women and none of this before that. They seen this, but they didn't care.
And see, for me, 70% still agrees with Trump, 30% disagrees with Trump. I was all for the deportation of the illegal immigrants because it didn't start with Trump. We got to backtrack and see how far deporting these illegal immigrants goes back. So it didn't start with Trump. It has always been on the books. Biden, Obama. Obama had 2 terms, 8 years. Even before Obama, it has always been on the books. Obama had families in cages. Right? Now, with Trump, and I'll speak on some of the things that I disagree. I'll make sure that it's balanced because I know this is a very sensitive topic. So I'll speak on what I agreed and I'll give some things that I disagree. I always agreed with the deportation of the illegal immigrants. To me, it's a slap in the face to the legal immigrants. Legal immigrants, some of them, it took 20, 30 years to get their citizenship to this country. Some of them, they, you know, now you have those that crosses the border. You have those that done it illegal. To me, that's not fair. To the legal immigrants, it's not fair to Black Americans that we fought. Let's go to the civil rights era. Now you had these illegal immigrants that's coming over here benefiting off of our civil rights. What's the demonstration? And somebody help me out. I can't remember. As far as the birthright, that whole situation, I've done a demonstration on it. And when you read the Constitution, it was for, and Trump even said it. What am I talking about, y'all? But it was for the citizen birthright was for the slaves, children. Yes or no? It was, but see, now you have the immigrants, the illegal immigrants, some legal, but okay, the legal, all right, they've done it the right way. But then you got these illegal immigrants that's benefiting off of the citizen birthrights that was for us.
That's what I was thinking about, Shane. So what do you think about the kids that their parents were immigrants, but they were born here? Because like I live in Michigan, right? And we have kids that were born here. You know what I'm saying? In Michigan. So they were born here. So they're legally born in the state.
And
so
I don't.
Their parents are immigrants.
Yeah, let me answer it before get away from me. I don't want to sound cold, but if anyone perceives it as me being cold, well, that's on your funky ass. The same, I feel the same way about those kids that's being displaced from their parents as the same as Black Americans, children were displaced from their parents. What's the difference? See, I'm going to do the same thing that the Jews do when the Holocaust come up. I'm going to do the same thing that every nationality, when it comes to their people, I'm going to do the same thing that they did. I'm going to advocate like hell about mine. Where was the outcries of all those children? Some of the children were even fed to alligators. Am I lying? See, now, if we want to really, really talk about it, we got to talk about it. We can't just play around with it. We can't just put a Band-Aid over the wound and expect the wound to heal. What about our people? What about our babies?
Right.
That was ripped. Right? Let me bring you up to, let me bring everybody up to date, because some will say, come on, Shank Rock, that was 400, 300 years ago. Well, what about the crack epidemic? Huh? What about when the government flooded, the urban communities, Black Americans, with the drugs, and the moms and dads were either selling crack cocaine or using crack cocaine, another form of genocide. Are y'all listening to me?
I hear you, Shank. If they didn't care about us, they still took from us. They still took from us and stripped us from our parents and took us away. They didn't care. They didn't care.
So please tell me, in the movie Sinners, how did them Vietnamese get to Mississippi in 1942 and become business owners? Not one business, but two businesses. And the Black people were still picking cotton. Please tell me how that happened. That's still stands out to me. I'm
I can
still
still
trying to
see the
figure that out.
comments on my TV. I hear you say I'm on my phone, but I can still see the comments on my TV, so I can still see it. I'm just getting your perspective on it because they don't care because they'll take the parents away and still leave the kids over here for us to take care of them. So I'm just trying to get your perspective on how you feel about it.
And all the things.
That's because of the Vietnam War. That's how the Vietnamese got here.
But the Vietnam War wasn't until the 60s. That was in 1942. 1942. That was what World War II? That was 1942. I want to know how they got here.
Because we have, like I said in the comments, we have a Mexican town here in Michigan. We have a Mexican town here in Michigan. We have a lot of immigrants called Michigan town here in Michigan. And, you know what I'm saying, they come over here and take a lot of Mexicans away. But they'll leave the kids because they was born here. But they'll take the parents, but leave the kids here because they was born here. You know? So I was just trying to feel what's your perspective of how you feel about it. You know? Because the kids is born here, they go to school here, you know.
That's not my fight. You know what I mean? And once again, I know it may sound cold, but one thing in my 53 years of living on this planet, Michael Jackson said it best. They don't really care about us. Now, if we're going to free ourselves, if we're going to get ourselves out of this condition, we can no longer care about those that don't care about our funky asses. Appreciate the super chat, Drea. Great live, Shank Rap. Black people are a bunch of funky asses if they care about people that don't care about them. And if you are one of those black funky asses, get the hell away from Shank Rock. Because Shank Rock will get on one and Shank Rock will get your funky ass from around him. We dying out here. Why do y'all think I'm up here? We've been dying for over 400 plus years. And now Latinos want us to help? Let me tell Latinos about they funky asses, man. Because I get so tired of having to water down ish. Y'all don't care about black Americans, and you know you don't. Appreciate that, Jaquetta. Hats off to you, Shank. You dropping jewels. Latinos, I'm not going to say all, but the majority of them, y'all don't care about black Americans. So stop acting like y'all do. Shout out to my man, because my man, he put it in his proper perspective. Y'all come to this country with your noses in the air. Anything to deal with black Americans, the only time y'all funky asses deal with black Americans is if we are spending money with y'all. And half of the time, y'all don't even want our money. Let's put it in its proper perspective and let's stop playing with this. We're going to stop playing around. You don't care about black Americans. And let's put it in its proper perspective. Your light skin complexion makes you think that you are white. Your light skin complexion makes you think that you're going to be treated different from the N-word. But I got news for y'all funky asses. Y'all ends. Yeah, y'all ends. Because the last time I checked, is it 1%, 2%, 5%? Can't remember. But what's the percent of black blood that makes you black? Somebody tell me.
1%.
1%.
And that's not even just in Mexican time that we just have Mexicans. It's even like in Mexican Heights, we have a whole like if you in Mexican Heights, we have a whole like Asian area. Like we have a whole another Asian area in Mexican Heights.
I tell you
Like
what.
I
in
tell you what,
Novi,
go
we
to
have
the
a whole Chinese area in Novi. Like it's not just certain areas. We have a whole community. Like I can go to Novi, it's a whole Chinese area. A
that's
whole
everywhere. That's everywhere in the
it's
United
everywhere.
States.
Like it's just
But you
not.
can't go to their country and set up a black community.
Yeah,
Bingo.
it's just not subject to one area. Even in Michigan, I'm in Michigan,
Bingo.
so you can't just say it's areas in certain areas. I can go to Novi, it's the Chinese area. I can go to Medicine Heights, is the Chinese area. We have a whole area, and it's called Southwest Detroit. It's
Let me let me
a Mexican area.
Let me slide in because I forgot that quick. I gotta say this. Latinos, where are the Latino athletes at? Where are the Latino entertainers? There are Latino athlete players. There are Latino entertainers. Talk to them. Why haven't they came out? Where's Fat Joe funky ass at? I'll wait. I'll wait. Where is Fat Joe's funky ass? Where is the Latino entertainers, athletes? Where are they at? Why haven't they came out? Why haven't they used their platform? Leave Black Americans alone. Please leave us alone. Get your own help. Somebody, get Fat Joe on the line. Tell Fat Joe Mr. Shankrock want to talk to you. See? But why is it always the weight of the world is put on Black Americans? And I don't need Jamaicans, Nigerians, Ethiopians. I don't need y'all claiming Black because y'all don't claim Black. And we want to talk, we're going to talk. Only people that claim that Black is Black Americans, and some funky ass Black Americans don't even claim being Black. Am I lying? Some funky ass Black Americans are so bougie, got their nose so far in the air. I ain't not Black, Shankrock. Last time I checked, your funky ass is Black. Because the last time I checked, if your funky ass get caught driving while Black, your funky ass is going to be Black to them cops. Yes or no? Accept the fact that you are Black American. Now we can dissect it. For my Moorish Science Temple of American brothers, we can dissect that. Okay, Noble Drew Ali brought the free nationality because according to science, Black means spiritually dead. Everything that's affiliated with Black is negative. I got it, Mo. For my Moorish American brothers, I got it. But just like me, calling myself a Black American, you too, and as much as the Mo brothers know the law, the cops will still drag your funky ass away in handcuffs. Yes or no? See, we playing with this, and we've been playing for so long. We keep playing around with it. You Black, I'm Black. Accept it. We know why the government of the United States of America, now we can talk how we became Black. Because originally, we wasn't Black. Originally. But the United States of American government put Black, colored, Negro, Afro-American, they put those names on us back in the late 1800s. Why? Why? Afro-America means backward. What's Afro? Something that's backwards. So they put that on us, a backwards American. See, these are the games and tricks that this government play with us and been playing with us for so long. You don't believe me? Go to TikTok. Let the white boy tell you. Let the white girl tell you on TikTok. Same thing I'm telling you. You ain't got to believe Shank Rock. But as Latinos, leave us alone. Leave Black Americans alone. We got enough on our plate already. Black men got enough on our plate. We got to clean ourselves up and take charge of our family. You know how hard that is when we don't have an identity? You know how hard that is as a man when we don't even have our original names? Our name. She talked about the names, didn't she? But the Latinos have Latino names. Black Americans still have our slave master's name. Picture that.
Absolutely right, Shake Rock.
See, it's deep. As a black man, I'm going to get to the black women. Just give me a minute. It's deep. Y'all just don't know how deep it is. Y'all don't know the trauma from slavery, what it done to us. Y'all don't realize they took some things from us. Now, when we speak about reparations, some of y'all funky asses got a problem with us receiving reparations. Reparations still won't give us back our identity that was stolen from us, because many to this day, many believe the lie that we came over by way of the boats when the majority of us was already here. Give us our names back. Give us our way of life back. Y'all got us worshiping gods that in the Bible, God tell us don't worship the gods of your enemies. Am I lying?
No, you ain't lying, Shank.
Somebody slide in because I probably went too deep.
You ain't lying, Shake. I'm gonna say this: by me being in Michigan my whole 41 years of my life, if anybody coming to Michigan, I'm gonna say this. If anybody coming to Michigan, if you want me to take you somewhere, I could take you to anywhere you want to go. I'm gonna tell you, I could take you where you want to go. I could take you to anywhere you want to go. I could take you to a Caribbean. I could take you to Mexican. I could take you to anywhere you want to go. I could take you there, and I know where you want to go, and I could take you to what you want to eat, to where you want to go, any type of food you want to go to, and I know where you want to go. You know what I'm saying? It's all type of food here, and you want to go there, I could take you there, because it's no differential of what type of food you want to go to, where you want to go, because it's here. It's no different type of place you want to go to, because it's all type of food, and where you want to go, it's here. You know, because it's that. It's just that. It's here. It's crazy because they don't care. It's just here. That's honest to God truth.
Somebody
I just want
to go ahead. Go ahead, love. Go ahead, love. Go ahead, y'all.
I think somebody was saying something.
Everybody talking about
You went out.
Johnny say I'm scared of Michigan. Don't be scared of Michigan. Don't be scared, Candy. I see you. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Don't be scared of Michigan. Don't be scared of Michigan.
Everybody
Don't be
talking about
scared of Michigan. I know y'all scared of Michigan.
it's
Don't
not our
get
it's
it
not our
twisted.
this is not our
Don't be scared of
problem.
Michigan. Y'all thinking of
Yes, it is.
Michigan.
It's
Y'all,
everybody's
I'm gonna say
problem.
this. Y'all
We're
being scared
talking
of
about
Michigan because y'all
democracy.
thinking of the Harris and the
We're
Gamble
talking about
family.
freedom.
Don't don't think of Michigan as the
It is
Harris
our
and the
problem.
Gamble family. That's the
The
East
problem
Side.
is we don't have a
We
leader.
are not the East Side.
We've always
We
had a
are
leader
not the
when we
East
had to do
Side.
something.
That's the East
Whether
Side.
it be the Black
We are not from
Panthers,
the East Side.
the
Everybody not the East
shit,
Side.
Angela
We are from
Davis.
the West Side.
We always
That's the
had a
East
leader.
Side. Don't think of that.
Martin
No,
Luther
please
King.
don't think of that.
Wait a minute. Y'all talking at the same time, Squeak and Lovely. Let me let Squeak slide in, Lovely, and then I'm gonna let you come in. Y'all was talking at the same time. Come on, Squeak. Come on, Squeak. Slide in, Lovely, and then I'm gonna let you come in. Y'all was talking at the same time. Come on, Squeak.
Like I was saying, like, this is all our problem. Whether you're black, white, Puerto Rican, Latino, true. This is all our problem. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I disagree with you though, Squeak, but I'm gonna let you finish. Go
Like
ahead.
I was saying, like, this is all our problem. Whether you're black, white, Puerto Rican, Latino, true. This is all our problem. You hear me?
Yeah, I disagree with you though, Squeak, but I'm gonna let you finish. Go
Like
ahead.
I was saying, like, this is all our problem. Yes, this is all our problem. We all got to deal with this shit. We got to deal with the prices. We got to deal with because everything's gonna go up. Everything is recall. And my God, everything is happening, and it's going to get worse. It ain't gonna get no better. If something don't happen, that affects us. Them kidnapping people off the street. Guess what? That affects us. We next. It affects us. So yeah, we got to give a damn. We got to do our research so we look.
Go ahead.
Put your head in the game. This is serious shit. Think about your grandkids and your kids, what it's going to be like. What it's going to be like for them. He's trying to cause a World War III, Civil War. It is our problem. It's everybody that lives here is our problem. Because it's going to affect us greatly. This ain't going to be no everyday ride. This ain't going to be like every day. Can't y'all see that? It's just, he's only, what? Not even 4 months yet, y'all. And look how much damage he's done. In less than 4 months. You think, because, man, look here. It affects us. Every which way but loose. It affects us.
Slide in, Lovely, or Mel. Like I said, I disagree with Squeak as far as it's all of our problem. It's not, because the deportation of illegal immigrants has nothing to do with Black Americans. Black Americans are not illegal immigrants. So this fight is definitely about Black Americans. Come on, Lovely.
Can I say this one thing though? Look.
Yeah, go ahead, Squeak.
They're kidnapping everybody. That's what he started with saying. But that's not what's happening. If they look like they're Latinos, they're arresting them. Can I say this one thing? Look, they're not.
All right. I got something for us, y'all. I love the way how she puts it in its proper perspective, y'all. Let's take a listen.
100%. African American community is the only community that has the power in this country to change anything. They are the only one with the experience of civil matter. They are the only one que tenían el esclavo ahí mismitico. They are the only one that are not going to get deported anywhere, and you cannot put them all in jail. So African American community, which is the community that is stepped on by Cubans, the most are the only ones that are going to save the Latinos. And I clap for the African American community that has not come out because it is not. I do. We didn't do shit for them. I get it. I In get masses, it. But I don't. Me and you support, but in masses, we didn't support anything that was going with them. Latinos look at Cubans specifically. I'm not gonna talk about any other community because I'm not part of that community, even though I'm a Latina with them. Cubans talk shit about African Americans.
I think she put it in its proper perspective. What are y'all thoughts before we get out of here, lovely? Squeak, what's your thoughts on that? I think she put it in its proper perspective. Well, what's your perspective on what she just spoke on, Mel?
I think she's right, because when we really think about it, when the illegal immigrants did begin to flood the United States, they kind of undermined the Black community. And what I mean by that is they went in and they started taking wages that was way below what we were getting paid, right? So with their ability to come and pretty much live in droves of families all living in one space, they were able to kind of like pull themselves up, right? So they were working for lower wages, which undermined us. They began to do, just do any kind of labor. I'm quite sure in most cities, especially where I lived, when the generation of, I can say, African American women, such as like my mom and my grandmom and like my next, neighbors and stuff, when they kind of, aged and retired from working in the domestic capacity, the next generation of African American women, they were pretty much going to college and becoming teachers or other kind of in other kind of professions. So who were there to help those white families raise their kids while they worked their corporate jobs, where they would go and they're having the illegal immigrants, that were, doing the domestic jobs that the certain, as the generations changed, Black women weren't doing anymore. If they needed work done by the house, everybody know you pull up to the Home Depot and you could pick up a pickup truck full of, illegal immigrants, and they'll go and work for you all day. So it was a little undermining going on there, because then they became cheap labor. So that's what I talk about when I talk about, just them undermining African Americans. As African Americans began to evolve, the more and more that began to, pick up their own trades or start their own business or go to school and become something, become teachers or doctors or nurses or things like that. So they began to kind of undermine. And so with the, as you say, the
introduction of crack to the Black communities, and it just drove everybody down. That's a lot has to do with some of the separation of us and how we lost our communities. Whereas, especially with me growing up, in a small community, a small Black community, like everybody knew everybody. Everybody looked out for everybody's kids. There was always a babysitter. There's always somebody looking out. You could go next door and borrow a cup of sugar. My mama said, "Can I borrow a cup of flour?" It was always those kind of things until they began to flood the crack into the neighborhoods, and they all just began to change. And people that I knew were leaving home. They were on drugs, and their parents got old and died. So that those homes would go to the city because of back taxes. Just a lot of stuff that began to break up our communities. And they were able to come to this country and take full advantage of everything. And so, you know, even during that time, they never, for the ones that are being deported and that are illegal and that have been here sometimes for 10, 15, 20 years and have kids here, but they never became legal. And then the ones that just began to keep coming as they began to how can I put it? Keep bringing family members over and over and over. And I think in the long run, it did a lot of damage to just the country as a whole when it came to wages. That's why the wages are so much out of whack. You can go and look for jobs. You see the same job from different companies, but they all is offering a different wage for the same job. But that's because a lot of the that's one thing we have to take into consideration is that with that came a deflux in wages, and now they're all over the place. So some of the things that are happening really, really have to happen because everything has to get back on track, And I digress with that.
Let me read this super chat from It's Yvette. Appreciate that super chat. It does more harm than good allowing illegal people to be here and foot the bill for them. Absolutely not. And that's facts, Yvette. And here's another thing. Let me come to this super sticker. Appreciate that super sticker, Lisa. Let me come back to, because this is what folks love to say. And I want y'all to pay close attention to me when I say this. See, Shank Rock, the illegal immigrants, they work and work from sun up to sundown. They not lazy like black people. Another way they love throwing black people under the bus. Those illegal immigrants do this and do that. I mean, for minimum wage, and when they send that minimum wage paycheck, as Mel said, when they send their minimum wage paycheck back to their third world country, the American dollar, if it doesn't triple, it doubles. Yes or no? Now, if they send $300 a week back to their third world country, what's triple of $300? $1,200, $900, $600. So you see the illegal immigrants still wins the battle. Okay? Now, look at the conditions that they come from those third world countries. Look at their conditions. So, yeah, they're going to come here and work from sun up. If their country was so great, look at them in the streets as they protest. What flag is they waving around? They ain't waving the American flag. They in the streets protesting, waving their flags. Then why don't they take their funky asses back to their country that they come over here so proud of and wave that flag. Let me tell y'all something. As Malcolm said, we've been hoodwinked. It's easy to get over on us. We believe anything. We believe Santa Claus, a fat, funky white man, comes down the tree. Don't you say you don't believe in Santa Claus. Your funky ass, 45 years old, some of y'all funky asses is 60 years old, still teaching y'all grandbabies that a fat, funky white man comes down a chimney tree and brings them gifts. Y'all wrong for that. Y'all wrong for that. Let Christmas go. Let me duck, because I know y'all getting ready to start throwing all kind of stuff up here at my funky ass. Let Santa Claus go. Let that Easter bunny go. Let the fairy tales go. Right? So Black Americans damn sure ain't going to work those minimum wage jobs. White Americans for sure ain't going to work those minimum wage jobs. But see, we thinking that the immigrants are really, really working hard and, you know, they really care. No, they don't really care. They said it. We don't really give too much about America. We just come to get rich. And as James says, even the tooth fairy with y'all funky asses. Who believes in the tooth fairy? Please show your face so I could call your funky ass out by your name. The Easter bunny laying eggs. Come on, y'all. Come on. What's wrong with us? Come on. See, Shank, you be doing all right until you go off onto the left. We do it for the kids. You don't do it for the kids. You do it for your funky ass. And then we wonder why the kids turn out the way that they turn out. And we're always quick to tell the kids that it's not good to tell a lie. We've been telling lies to these babies since they were born. And then when we get mad at them when they rebel against us. That's why the kids rebel, because they know. They know the kids ain't dumb. So now you got the immigrants over here working for that paycheck. Why wouldn't they work for the paycheck? They don't get paid that in their country, right? We need to take a deeper dive into what's really going on. And that's why I said we all need to evolve. We got to let go of the foolishness and we got to become better people. Don't matter if it's Trump or not. Don't matter what president get in there. If we, the people, ain't right, then what's that to say? But y'all don't want that conversation, do y'all? I know. Y'all don't want that conversation. Y'all love when Shank Rock called everybody else funky asses. But the minute Shank Rock start calling your funky ass a funky ass for celebrating Christmas, see Shank Rock, Shank, your funky ass. The Bible even talk about the Christmas tree, how the heathens go out into the forest and cut down the tree and bring it home and nail it down and decorate it. The Bible even talk about the Christmas tree. It's either in Jeremiah or Nehemiah. I have to go back to my lessons. But the Bible talk about don't be like the heathens.
Shane, can I slide in for a second?
Let me read. It's Yvette, and then I'm going to let you slide in. Yvette says a lot of immigrants get high-paying jobs, and they're nowhere near qualified, but they people hire their own kind. That's why Trump got rid of DEI. I can't believe black people don't understand that. One thing's for sure, it's Yvette is not a funky ass, because it's Yvette just dropped some jewels. Shout out to It's Yvette. Now it's Yvette. Don't get too caught up and say, yeah, I'm not a funky ass. Don't do nothing to make me call you a funky ass. Now I'm messing around with you, It's Yvette. But It's Yvette is right. Slide in, Mel.
I was going to say something else, but I'm going to piggyback off of that, what you just said, and how there's so much truth to that. So it was, this was after Hurricane Katrina. So this was around 2007. And I used to work for this company in the HR support center. The company is now closed, but they were around for hundreds of years. So anyway, somebody could figure out that company. And so, you know, during Hurricane Katrina, a lot of people lost a lot of stuff. Their IDs, their social security numbers, and people just, you know, lost a lot of personal things, right? So one day, because we only deal with employees for the most part, I got a call from this girl who I know was a white girl. And she's a kind of young girl, and she was saying that she lived in Virginia, and she had a new baby. And she had a 3-year-old, and she had a new baby. So she was trying to apply for some benefits because she wasn't working, you know, like, you know, the state benefits. But they told her that she worked at this company. I'll just say the company's name now because they're no longer open. They told her she worked at Sears. And she said, no, I don't work at all. You know, she was telling them she just had a baby, and she gave them her last job and everything. And they told her that she worked at Sears in Illinois. That's where it was. So, you know, we have to take the call. And so we had this system called Image Able, where you can pull up an employee record, and you can see their ID and all of that. And so I pulled up the employee ID, but on that ID, it was a girl's name and everything. But the person who ID that I pulled up, you know, no pun intended, but it was a Hispanic girl. It was a Hispanic woman who was, based off her picture, was older than this girl that I was talking to. She was about maybe 22, 23, but that picture looked like an older person. Now, with the name of the girl and the picture on there, I can tell that was a Hispanic person, but so the name didn't go with the way the person looked. So then you kind of pass that on to like another level of, you know, person that's in that call center. But kind of find out, of course, some kind of way her identity had been taken, but this person had been working for like a year and was making really, really good money because she worked in a distribution center. So then you have to think about the actual person who it is, like all of the, you know, the income tax. So we have to call all those different agencies like IRS and all, Social Security and all that, because all that counts against her Social Security number. Kind of find out that HR that hired her was also what? Hispanic. Right? So you see how that works? I'm not saying that against everybody, but I just wanted to say that because of what you said.
Right. And see, everybody understands the game. They all understand the game. It's Yvette says, and they love saying, we don't have a social, so we don't get assistance from the government. A lie. When they're pregnant, they get Medicaid and they give their kids food stamps and Medicaid. We pay for that. Facts. That's facts. See, everybody knows how to get rich off of America, and everybody knows how to take care of their own but us. But I got news for everybody. Black Americans, We got it now. We get it now. And that's why Black Americans, maybe 2% went out and protest. Black Americans, we get it now. We get it and we understand. If it's anybody that's going to free us, it's going to be us. If it's anybody that's going to look out for us, it's going to be us. Black Americans understand. Now we have to let go of all of our foolish ways. That's first. We gotta let go. And I gotta tell y'all, we gotta let go of the fairy tales. Do y'all know where we would be at if we let go of those fairy tales? Do y'all know where we would be at if we learned to believe in ourselves and stop expecting for everybody and everything to make our conditions better? If we make our conditions better ourselves, see, check this out. And I hope everybody understands what this woman said. And she hit it on the nose. Even white people and they funky asses, they been Dracula. That's what Sinners is about. The vampires, they've been sucking the blood out of us for 400 plus years. Everybody knows the power that Black Americans have, but Black Americans don't know the power. Everybody comes to us and draw blood from us, right? And we go to everybody and help them. We go to everybody and freely bend over backwards. We don't even tell them to use Vaseline when they go up in us. We are a bunch of funky ass Black Americans for thinking that way. We always forgiving our enemies. Who taught us that? Appreciate the super stick station. Who taught us to forgive our enemies? Huh? But do our enemies forgive us? But who taught us to forgive our enemies? We won't even forgive one another. We won't forgive each other when we do something to each other, but we'll forgive them. See? But even they know, because I'm going to run the clip back. If you want to get something done in America, you got to get the Black Americans. Yes or no? Everybody knows that. Everybody knows to get us, to get everything done. We open up our doors to everybody with our funky asses. We are some funky asses. Seriously. And we gotta stop. And that's why when it comes to masculinity, that's why they strip the Black man of his masculinity. Remember Good Times. Y'all remember Good Times? What did Florida say? Florida said they didn't even have James. They didn't have her with her husband. But Florida told them, if you want me to do this show, you got to give me a husband. We're going to talk about a Black family. A man was present when the family was made. So for surely, you got to put a Black man in this show. They ain't even have James in that show. Appreciate that super chat, Tanya. Tell that true, Shane. And even when James bucked against them, because they was pushing more of Jimmy Walker's character, they was pushing more of JJ's character in the forefront. And they was pushing Michael's character on the side. They was pushing Thelma's on the side. But James in Florida wanted Thelma's character to get some airtime. and wanted Michael's character to get some airtime. And in the beginning episodes of Good Times, they didn't even have Thelma with talking roles. They had to fight for Thelma to get talking roles. All Thelma was supposed to do was come out, say hey, and then do what she do. But they had to fight for her to get talking roles. And when James bucked, they got rid of James. Because he bucked, because James knew the direction. You got white writers, you got black actors, but you got the white writers trying to tell how a black family should be. See, I just want y'all to stop for 1 second, Latinos. See, these are the things that black Americans have been going through since the 70s and even before the 70s. Y'all just experiencing a month of what y'all are experiencing. We experience discrimination all the way around the Monopoly board. In school, don't we get discriminated against in school? On the job, don't we get discriminated? Pro sports, basketball and football, the majority of the players are black, right? Why is the majority of the coaches, why are they white? And what happened to my man down there in Miami? Help me out with this. The coach, the black coach that was in Miami, he took the Dolphins, I believe, to a 10-6 season, maybe 9-7, but he had a pretty decent season with the Dolphins. And what did they do? They got rid of my man. And he had a decent season with the Dolphins. Y'all really don't know, as Latinos, y'all really don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes for us black Americans. Y'all don't have a clue, because many of y'all hold on to the whitewash lie. Many of y'all believe that the lighter you are, the more superior you are. The darker you are, the more inferior you are. Many of you Latinos believe, since your skin complexion is closer to white, many of y'all adopt that white supremacist mind frame. And that's why y'all look down on us. I see it all the time. I witness it all the time. If I'm trying to cross a street, and if it's a Latino driving, they won't even stop. They'll ride right past me. Won't even stop. And I can have the right of way. I can have the right of way. Now, if it's a white person about to cross the street, the Latino hit hard on their brakes and stop for that white person to cross the street. See? This is what we go through. And for my Nigerians, my Jamaicans, Ethiopians, my Haitians, for all those from the African nations that come to this country and always say, I'm not Black American. I'm not Black American. I'm not Black American. Appreciate that. The coach was Brian Flores. Remember? He had a good season down there in Miami. Didn't they get rid of him? For those, appreciate your super sticker, Sharita. For the African people that come from the other countries that come here and don't want to identify as being a Black American. Me not black. No, me from Jamaica. Me from here. Me from there. As soon as the cops pull y'all funky asses over, the cops bring y'all to reality. And even when y'all try to tell the cops, me no Black America, me from Jamaica, the cop still treats you like a N. See? But everybody got so much negative to say about Black Americans. Everybody. I lived 53 years and I know. I see it all the time. And I have to tell y'all, brother, I understand you from Jamaica. Brother, I understand you from Nigeria. Brother, I understand you're from here. I understand you're from there. But let me hit you to America's politics. You're still in. And every chance they get, they're going to show you that you are in. You are a Black American. They don't get caught up in Nigeria, Ethiopia. They don't get caught up in what continent. They don't get caught up in none of that. They only know you to be an N, and they know to classify you as a Black American. And if y'all haven't experienced it, just like the Latinos is starting to experience what we've been experiencing all this time, y'all are going to experience it. See, when I spoke about Trump, that's why I had to lay off of the Trump demonstrations for a minute, because I had to allow certain things to happen. And I said that God allowed Trump to be in office. God got his hand on Trump. You could take it or leave it. Didn't God touch Pharaoh? Didn't God use Pharaoh? Where's my biblical scholars at? Now, if God used Pharaoh, you don't think God can use Trump? Look at the events that's taking place. Look at everything that's taking place under Trump's administration. Yeah, Shane. See, he cutting out this program, he cutting out that program, and Black people was in this, and Black people was in that. Black Americans, don't y'all think we milked the cow long enough with these programs? I mean, yes or no? God damn it, God damn it, God damn it, God damn it. How much longer as Black Americans are we going to be funky asses dependent on the system? That's not Black Americans. Black Americans built universities, barbershops, grocery stores, and we did it with nothing. We did it with nothing. We were segregated. All we had was the skin on our behind, a little clothes, but we had that spirit of God in us. Can't tell me we ain't God's people. You can't tell me. Who has done it other than us? I'll wait. What nationality, what group of people has done it like we done it? And everything that we done, they stole, right? Hip hop. Who created hip hop? Right? What's the liquor? Jack Daniels? But where did Jack Daniels learn how to brew the liquor? Where did he get it from? I'll wait. Jack Daniels. I'll wait. And all of the others that stole from us. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Y'all remember that movie? What was that movie about? Slide in, Mel.
I really didn't have anything else to say because what I was going to say, you already said it. And that's about, just, hoping that people understand that some things that's happening in this country has to happen, because even though it appeared like, we were benefiting from all of these different programs that they created, but they already exposed the bigger picture of that. Somebody was scaling millions. They found millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars from these programs that wasn't even going to the people. So it's almost like, you might have that one friend or that family member, like, that's going to speak up for everybody. There are other presidents, I would say over the past 20 years that may have wanted to do this, but see, they couldn't. God used Donald Trump because he's old enough the only one that was bold enough to say it and do it. To say what he was going to do and carry it out. He's just a vessel. That's all that's just like the only way that I can put it. He's just a vessel to do. It might seem like things are bad, but to be honest with you, they weren't going to be no better with Kamala. They probably would have been a bit rough, a little bit rougher for her. Maybe this is her preparation. Maybe this is God's way of preparing the country for her if she decides to run again. By, just doing what's right. Imposing a terrorist 4 years in, which is probably the right way to go. So maybe this is God's way of preparing the country for her. Everything will get in line to where it should be, and everybody will be in their rightful place. Right now, our Black Americans crickets, they crickets, but there's a lot of stuff moving on in the background. It's a lot of stuff moving in the background. Trust, it is. So that's why Black people are like crickets. They're not rioting, they ain't protesting, because at this point, it's just not our fight. They're doing other things, and just piggyback on you talking about hip hop. Just the whole culture. To be honest with you, they just about stole it. And they put a lot of our moguls in very compromising situations. They sent demonic spirits in to overtake people, and they just got some people in bad situations right now. But these were and still are some of our billionaires that spoke out on how they were going to begin to, recreate Black Wall Street and invest their monies here. And I won't call the name of that person because it's pretty terrible what's going on right now. But they spoke out, and look where they are. And they sent people to do that. Because at sometimes there are people that just want that life, that they want to come up, and they sell their souls to the devil to do it. I guess that's the right way to say it. I don't know. But I digress, and I'm going to leave you because the commentation is very, very good. So I'm going to listen from the chat.
Appreciate you, Mel.
All right.
It's Yvette says Kamala is pro-immigrant and will undo everything Trump is doing now. She wants men and girls bathrooms and sports. She wants open borders. And I disagree with Kamala. Like Trump, some things I agree with Kamala. Some things I disagree. But this was one of the ones that I disagreed with Kamala when it came to, of course, the open borders, when it came to the men playing in these female sports. Of course, I'm not against the LGBT community, but it's given a man that was born a man, and many LGBT communities, many of them even agree with that. They said, well, yeah, that's wrong for a man that was born a man to play in a all-female sport. You know, now, do I think Kamala would have made a decent president? And this is just my opinion, you all. I believe Kamala would have made a decent president. I do believe that. I mean, I don't believe Biden made a decent president. I believe Obama was a decent president. I always felt like Obama could have done more, but I believe that Kamala could have been a decent president. In my opinion, I don't believe that she made the better president when it came to her and Trump, because Trump is really shaking up the trees. He is, y'all. Kamala would have been put on a leash just like Obama was put on a leash. Kamala wouldn't have been able to do but so much in respect to her. She wouldn't have been able to do but so much. Whereas though Trump, ain't no controlling Trump. I'm just being 100 with you. Even the son, even George Bush, the son, he was a wild cowboy, but even George Bush, the son, he knew his limitations. Whereas though with Trump, look, what Trump want to do, Trump going to do. But I believe Kamala, and this is just my opinion, I'm not Democrat nor Republican. I believe that the Democrats set Kamala up for failure. Yvette says Trump is a businessman, not a politician. And America is a corporation. See, before Trump, we had politicians trying to run a corporation. And you know, politicians going to do what politicians do. They're going to BS. They're going to play the game. But you do need a businessman to run a business. And I know, but Shank, he filed for bankruptcy X amount of times. What businessman hasn't filed for bankruptcy? But that's enough of that. I'm going to run this clip back. Now, I can say what I disagreed about Trump. And I've always said this. I didn't like the move when Trump brought Elon Musk in. I was always against that from day one. And if y'all backtrack my demonstrations, I've always felt, I was always against Elon Musk. To me, that was a bad move. Bingo. He can't be bought. That's their problem. And that's the whole issue with Trump. He can't be bought. You know what I mean? He gonna do him. He says what he means what he say. Now, I disagree with Elon, and I've always said that. Bad move. There's nowhere in the world he should have brought Elon Musk on board. So that's one of the things that I disagree.
Llaman los negros
100%.
americanos.
100%.
African American community is the only community that has the power in this country to change anything. They are the only.
What'd she say? What'd she say? African Americans is the only community in this country that has the power to change things, because we fight like hell. We've been fighting for 400 plus years. We done got good at fighting. But this time around, we're tired. And this time around, we see it for what it is. This is one fight that we just going to stay out of. We don't want no parts of this fight. We've been in enough fights as it is.
The only one with the experience of civil matter. They are the only one que tenían el esclavo ahí mismitico. They are the only.
We're the only ones with experience as being a single mother. See, y'all don't know what we go through. And that whole single mother, that was designed. It was designed for black women to be single mothers. It was designed. It wasn't always like this. It wasn't always like this. And contrary to what people believe, welfare was for white families. Welfare started out for white families. Because if you go back, black men, we were fathers and we were in that house. Right? But then the drugs came. The unemployment started to rise. There was no work for us. Right? Then here comes the pimping. Here comes the dope dealers. All a master design by none other than J. Edgar Hoover. And what did Trump say? He gonna shut down that J. Edgar Hoover building. Yes or no? See, it's a reason. It's a reason. Why? You do your homework on J. Edgar Hoover. He said that there will never be a black messiah coming out of the Negro in the United States of America. Am I lying? J. Edgar Hoover words. There will never be a black messiah. So all of our organizations, all of our black organizations, they infiltrated. Nation of Islam, More Science Temple of America, Marcus Garvey, Pan-African Movement, Black Panthers, Martin Luther King, Noble Drew Ali, and the list goes on and on. As Latinos, have y'all had the government? Have y'all had the government infiltrating y'all organizations and all of the rest of the immigrants that come to this country and talk ish about us? Have y'all had the government infiltrate at least one of y'all organizations? No, because y'all don't have organizations that's fighting for civil rights. We got to fight for rights that is given to human beings by God Almighty. Why we got to fight for civil rights? These are rights that was given to us by God Almighty. We're the only ones that fight for civil rights. But they infiltrated all of our organizations. After all these years, the autopsy report on Malcolm X proved what? The bullets that ended Malcolm X's life came from where? Down. Now, if the brothers was on the ground and the brothers was shooting, it's nowhere in the world that those bullets gonna come down. They was up top. They was up top hitting Malcolm. Black Panthers, they took them down. All our organizations, they took them down. See, I know she been studying Black history. I know she been studying because she knows. She knows. Them Black Americans, they some bad MFers. Let all the Black Americans pop your collar. Because see, even though the world is against us, the world needs us. Even though America discriminates against us, America needs us. They feed off of us. So as a Black American, hold your head up high. I'm going to play this clip and then I'm going to let y'all get out of here. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. I appreciate all the super stickers, all the super chats, and the memberships.
Only one that are not going to get deported anywhere. And you
We the only ones that ain't going to get deported. Because where they going to send us at? Shank, we next. Where they going to send us at? Do you really think the blood that keeps they funky asses alive, do you really think they're going to get us out of here? What would become of this country if there were no Black Americans? Let that thought sit. Just let it sit. They talk about if the immigrants go, imagine Black Americans up out of here. Where they going to send us at? Because even when they backtrack, that's why, like Mel said, they take census. Even when they backtrack and when they decide to ship us to wherever they're going to ship us to, it's going to be right here. Appreciate that cash donation for life. And if you would like to support the channel with a cash donation, the cash app is $ERICMCINT. We were already here. The majority of us was already here. Just think, how long did they say the boat ride from Africa to the United States? How long of a ride? 6 months? Now, can you imagine for 6 months, these slaves chained to each other, 6 months, they don't eat, they don't drink, all other slaves would have died. All of the slaves would have died. We were already here. Y'all remember back in the days, my grandmother Indian, we all Indians. And they even lied about calling the natives Indians. The Indians are from India. Even in the movies, they got the Native Americans pale skin because they know if they would have had the Native Americans, who the Indian, if they would have showed us that they were us, we wouldn't have believed that lie that they pushed on us. Christopher Columbus discovered America. Another lie. Another lie. So if they backtrack and they do the homework research on where we are from, many of us, they're going to be sending us down there to Florida. They're going to be sending us to Louisiana, Indiana. Because remember, in the beginning, even before it was the 13 colonies, it was territories. And even California, along with some other states, help me out, belonged to Mexico. But Mexico sold California. So what are they talking about? The Lone Ranger. How many of y'all remember the Lone Ranger? Come to find out that the Lone Ranger, and that's why they put the mask over the Lone Ranger to hide his identity, because the Lone Ranger was a Black man. Just like the original cowboys. The word cowboy came from them telling the Black man, because they called us boys. Get that cow, boy. Get that cow, boy. And that's where that name, cowboy, come from. I can go on and on and on. But it's so much information that's out here. You do the homework. You could start on TikTok. You could Google things. You do the homework. And when you go on TikTok, you're going to see a lot of white people on TikTok giving these same jewels. White people been tired. Shout out to those white people that aren't prejudiced. They tired. Just like Black Americans tired, white folks, They tired. They tired. Don't get it twisted. Some of them still are racist, yeah. But even white folks, tired, man. They tired of this. Even religion was forced on us. Christianity, Islam, it was all forced on us. Once again, they know. And in the Bible, what did God tell his children? Stay away from them gods. Yes or no? Stay away from them gods of the other nations. That's why he said, thou shalt not have no other gods. Yes or no? Noble Drew Ali brought us that lesson. Know thyself. It's so much out here that you all can tap into. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Garvey, Nation of Islam, Black Panthers. Black Panthers gave us Head Start, the free lunch program. Years later, they took on the Black Panthers program, and now you have Head Start. That's the Panthers program. Yes or no? Yes or no? And the founding forefathers was England's worstest criminals. Queen Elizabeth paid for the boats and ships. Because at the time, Europe was coming out of the dark ages. Europe didn't know nothing about North America. They didn't know people were over here. All the lies, all the fairy tales, we got to give them back. We got to give them back. Now's the time. Now's the time. And I'm going to leave y'all on this. Remember when God freed his people, remember they cursed God because they were so used to Pharaoh. And in the desert, remember, many of them wanted to turn back. Many of them did turn back. But you can never get caught up on the past. Steve Harvey gave this demonstration. In your car, that's why you have your rear view mirrors. But you got the big windshield. Now you driving, you going to your destination. What are you focusing on? You focusing on ahead. You going ahead. You look at the rear view mirrors to see what's in back of you, but you never stay there. You always focus on going ahead. We cannot focus on what's in back of us. It's done. Done deal. We got to move forward. Let us let go of all of the foolishness. It's a new day and time. The world is tuned in to Black Americans. The whole world. What is our next move? What is your next move? I can help, but I need y'all help. I can't do it by myself. Any programs y'all want to start, y'all can use my platform. Whatever it is that y'all want to start, we got a platform. Got Miss Parker. There's other content creators. We could use each other's platform. Even if it ain't nothing. Even if it ain't nothing but teaching how to cook. Even if it ain't nothing but teaching the babies how to cook, how to attend to their hygiene. Don't y'all know today? Don't y'all know that today, in today's time, the basic hygienes is out the window? They don't even bath themselves. They don't. We got a lot of work to do. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. This is the first time that I've done a 3.5 hour demonstration in a long time. But this was a interesting topic that I wanted to cover, and I wanted to see everybody else's opinion on it. Why blame Black Americans? Why Latinos don't ask Asians to protest with them? Why not ask white people? Why do it always have to be us? You know? And then we get treated the way we get treated. But if they recognize our power, I'm going to leave y'all on this. If they recognize our power, why are we focused on having other people change our conditions? Ain't nothing wrong with praying. There's nothing wrong with giving the Lord thank you. But to continue to pray to make our conditions better, work. Faith without work is dead. The power has always been amongst the people. Power to the people. It has always been us. The power has always been in us. Let's always remember that. All right? I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Salute. I'll see everybody back tomorrow. I got a story of our own Jonte. Where you at, Jonte? And then I also have Shelly that would like to join me on the panel to tell her story. So I'm going to try to knock out both demonstrations tomorrow. So make sure everybody pull up tomorrow for Jonte's story. She spoke on it on yesterday's demonstration. The death of her son. So if I don't see y'all early, because tomorrow is Father's Day. Tomorrow is Father's Day. And I planned on just chilling, relaxing, watching some old movies. But I'm going to at least knock out her interview at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I might come before y'all early. Not sure. But make sure y'all pull up on me tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time as Jonte tells her story. Salute everybody. I'll leave the chat running and you all can hang around. Salute.
Llaman los negros
100%.
americanos.
100%.
African American community is the only community that has the power in this country to change anything. They are the only one with the experience of civil matter. They are the only one que tenían el esclavo ahí mismitico. They are the only one that are not going to get deported anywhere, and you cannot put them all in jail. So African American community, which is the community that is stepped on by Cubans, the most are the only ones that are going to save the Latinos. And I clap for the African American community that has not come out because it is not. I do. We didn't do shit for them.
I get it. I get
masses,
it. But I don't.
Me and you support, but in masses, we didn't support anything that was going with them. Latinos look at Cubans specifically. I'm not going to talk about any other community because I'm not part of that community, even though I'm a Latina with them. Cubans talk shit about African Americans. Cubans did not llaman